We begin the journey towards a fantasy football championship. We'll be alongside you all season long.
Sucks.
every
Mike
single
isn't
day.
even
You're
Mike
in the
isn't even done to
dynasty, we've
go.
even got an extra episode.
Ooh, that's
It's
great.
2. Usually you try to get it done by 1.
Yeah.
Like his
And
half of the
I
go.
have news
Try
for
to get it
you,
done by
Jason.
1 because like
You may
I feel
be
like this means I'm gonna be
interested in
working till like
something
6.
we're
Oh
providing.
shit, where we
Okay.
Which also comes out today, right?
Yes.
So Wednesday's a double dose
Yeah.
of the fantasy footballers. We've got the main show, we got the dynasty show. I believe Mike was on there with Morgan Betts.
Yep. We were talking all about quarterbacks.
I've heard of them. Yeah, that sounds like a good discussion. Today we have Ice and Fire, one of our favorite episodes of the year. We got news to talk about. We have so much going on.
I just can't wait for
Yeah.
the drop. I mean, that's all I'm here for is just when we get into that segment. But we do have something maybe a little bit more important
Uh-oh.
than that drop.
Oh, I didn't even see this. Why
Yeah,
don't you go ahead and take the
baby.
mantle?
This is the time. I mean, we are here. We are in August. Training camps are open, and listener league entries
Oh no.
are now
Oh, no.
officially open. So you have 1 week only to submit your listener league entry. And here's how you do it. You make whatever fun thing you want to represent yourself to say, I should be in the league.
Put me in that league.
And you're going to email that fun thing to listenerleague@fantasyfootballers.com. I said it once, and I'll say it one more time.
Let me know if anybody has any questions.
That's going to be twice. Listener League at fantasyfootballers.com. We are accepting entries for 1 week,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll plan a league together this year.
And Mike, we don't need the resume, right?
That is correct. Look, we want to play with fun people. We're gonna be chatting and yucking it up all season long. So we want people. It's a good time. This show. Hopefully, you realize that fantasy football is about. We all want to win, but we also want to have a good
No,
time
I
throughout
missed.
the NFL season.
Oh, he
So
jumped.
what do you do to get in the listener league?
I got him.
Just
Is there another one?
That we know that you're a fan of the show, and
I
that
think that's the big one there.
and
yeah.
that you're gonna have a good time with us.
Where?
We don't
Is he
want,
inside?
don't just like, you're too scared to let me in the league. No, we aren't too scared, but you're not gonna get in that way. And don't send us a wall of text.
Yeah, if you love fantasy football and you love the podcast, I think Brooks, you put
Yeah.
that well.
Brooks should know it. Brooks
Yeah,
was
that's how we
in
met.
the listener league. We met Brooks from the listener league. He's part of the show now. Biggest loser, Brian Ketcher, listener league. This is
Both of
And that one was an unfortunate.
Oh, it sucks. I'm so
Yeah.
I'm so unhappy to have
Right.
made his acquaintance and become close friends. But yeah, I mean,
Oh man,
we take the league
you
serious.
just said you were close friends with Brian.
I know
He's gonna lose his mind.
but it's true.
You can have donuts showing up at the office within 15 minutes. But yeah, that's a big announcement. I didn't realize that was dropping on today's show, but it makes sense. The community.
1 week.
Oh, yeah.
people. 1 week, and
And don't endanger yourself because somebody reached out to me and let me know that this year's entry, like they almost drowned or something, going through a river.
Stay
Let me know if anybody has any
Well,
questions on anything. We only got 7 duck spots left.
Like, is it fjording the river? What is that?
that fjording is when you take the raft.
Where was
Yeah,
it?
don't
Or
do that.
Not the fjording is just when
That's
you
not
walk through it with the oxen, and the
Yeah.
oxen just they
No.
disappear.
Yeah, no Oregon Trail stuff. Like we don't
Down
need
them.
that, but
Also,
stay safe.
and then last one, don't ask us
Oh, it's
on
fording a river.
Oh.
Fjords are those things down
Yeah.
in New Zealand or something.
in Norway and stuff.
Yeah.
Last bit
We're
of information. Don't ask us on social media for where you send your entry because
There's
We
one
already
more
said it twice.
these are the rules.
Yeah, I almost repeated it, but I'm
No,
not going.
we
I'm
will
not
not.
going to.
We will not say it again. We're not saying listener league at fantasyfootballers.com ever
Uh,
again.
Okay, there it is.
Jason. Quick question of the day.
If I said it twice, I'll say it thrice.
This quick question comes in from Dr. Kool-Aid. He says, how do I get my commissioners to get the ball rolling on leagues earlier without being too annoying? So that would be things like setting the draft order, which I did for our family league this morning, or setting the date for the draft, which I did for our family league this morning. How do you get them to do it sooner?
I genuinely think that the best way is to offer your services to do it for them. I don't think that the commissioner of your league is like, I refuse to think about this until August 15th. people are busy. So you know,
Dude,
a lot of the leagues that we are in have commissioners.
Let me know if anybody.
Every platform
Let me know if anybody has any questions.
Multiple people with administrative access, and I think it's really nice when someone else can step up and say, "Hey, I was thinking about getting the ball rolling on this. Do you want some help? Do you want me to, help set the draft order and stuff like that?" And then
It makes sense that you're in this position. You're very excited because you're listening to the show right now, and you probably listened for a while, and we go year round. So you've been excited. You wanted the league and the draft order to happen. I will say this: uh, setting the draft order, cool. If you want to have it happen early, you want to get the league going, you want to start chatting, that's great. Don't, and we're getting to the news in a minute, so you'll understand this even more. Don't push for your draft to be too soon, just because you're excited. Because we're always trying to push our draft as far back as possible. We're on Labor Day for our League of Record, which is September 4th.
I'm trying to sync it up with kickoff.
Like
Yeah.
like the final pick.
Yeah.
And then
the final pick is in. You have 30 seconds to set your line.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But it's just look, the injuries they stink regardless, but they stink a whole lot more when you already got the players on the roster.
Yes.
So we've had drafts where we didn't have a choice. Obviously, it was the time people could get together, and we've had injuries happen literally mid-draft before because preseason games were taking place. So it's good to avoid that if you can. Let's jump into the news.
News and notes from around the league, presented by USAA Insurance.
Well, there's some stuff going on. Let's start with the headline here. Cooper Kupp left practice yesterday, dealing with was that a horse, Jason?
it wasn't meant to be.
It was
but
a sad horse.
Yeah. He left practice, hamstring injury, underwent an MRI. The team's going to be cautious. It's going to take weeks. Kind of sounded similar to the Burrow situation.
What's up, Bill? How you doing, man?
Cooper Kupp. This data is interesting. I'm not saying
Nothing much, just
Cooper in this situation.
chilling. Pretty busy day at work. I had a freaking meeting after meeting yesterday.
Talked about the fact that in his data set over the last 2 years, 60% of players who dealt with camp injuries failed to meet their ADP. Pretty hard to meet your ADP when you're being drafted in the top 5 anyway. You add to that an injury.
All right, I'm gonna jump off for a while. I gotta work.
Cooper Kupp is a special type.
I'll hit you back up after. Are you gonna buy those tickets?
ACL,
Yes.
when people didn't expect him to produce, and he did. But I'm not excited to see this news.
You gonna buy those tickets?
Are going to rise on Cooper Kupp. I'm sure of that. And
No, I didn't.
From like 1 to 4
All right, cool.
because I see those.
All right, well,
4 wide
I'll talk to you later.
That, look, if you have a hamstring injury, that's going to separate you a little bit
All right, man.
in my rankings because I don't want that risk.
Yeah, I have a rule that I've adopted over the last several years.
We're just finishing a game of Warzone with the buddy.
80 dip of currently injured players. Now, if he's totally back and healthy by the time drafts come around, you're not buying an ADP dip, and there will
How's
but certainly it's unfortunate.
How's everything going though, Bill? Good? Doing okay? I am so ready for the weekend. It has been a long freaking week.
Calvin Ridley. This was, I guess, as good as it gets. Dealing with a toe injury that was reported, a lot of sad faces. And then this morning we found out it's related to the cleats he was wearing. He switched cleats today, and he's
I'm a size 12?
Yeah.
He had no idea.
Somebody just drove a side by side down freaking side street. Yeah, long week. Yeah, I'm excited for the Hall of Fame game, some football. But I think we're gonna go see Barbie. Take the ladies out to go see Barbie.
Well, you're in a good mood now, but what about this? Vikings running back Alexander Madison limped off the practice field.
Well, like pimp limp?
No, not
like
a pimp
cool,
limp.
he hit a big play. And he's like,
Look at that swag.
Yeah. No,
pimplimp.com.
But yeah, I probably won't catch the game then.
For different injuries. No, don't go there. By the way,
who knows?
I don't know what you're gonna find. He stayed on the field to watch the remainder of practice. Okay. Unfortunately, this meant that 7th-round rookie Dwayne McBride ends up with first-team reps, with Madison out and Kenny Nwangu also not practicing. So Madison camp injury. Didn't seem serious, but we'll have to
You got to.
all my ankle this week.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than mine. And then Travion Williams.
Yeah.
Who cares?
God, the movie though, for 4 of us to go is $67.
So, like,
Freaking insane.
Well, it was
And that's before popcorn.
Actually, I didn't see that.
So we gotta get popcorn and drinks and like, oh my god, $67. Get out of here.
The Cincinnati Bengals. He is fighting to be the backup to Joe Mixon, which could have some value if you are in much deeper leagues, of course. But the report came out. He went down. He was carted off. But I guess
Yeah, I feel like we go to the movies every now and then, but I don't remember it being $67. Like we've been going to the drive-in a little bit, and that's $30 a car, which is nice. But and then I just don't remember it being $37 or $67 for 4 of us. Like that's stupid.
OJ Howard has been
It's like
waived by the
$15 a ticket, and then fees on top of it.
Unfortunate for him, but Michael Mayer. I keep wanting to call him Michael Myers.
I actually think a storm is brewing for Jason.
Yeah.
I do.
Oh no!
I think a storm is brewing.
For a rookie tight end.
I think we're going to have 3 or 4 this year that you're going to have to talk about on waiver shows. I think it's going to be
Laporta,
Kincaid, Mayer, and maybe one of the Packers tight ends. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
right.
it will happen, but I will enjoy every
Well, I guess I heard Barbie was like one of the #1 selling movies,
yes,
like of all time.
He is also still Austin Hooper.
Like it made stupid amount of money. My buddy was telling me that. Oh damn, that must have made so much money.
The rookie tight end. This is a great rookie tight end class, and I have no doubt that there will be weeks. You remember Greg Dulcich last year's rookie?
Sure.
I mean, he was really important for waivers on certain matchups, but obviously Greg Dulcich wasn't a good pick last year.
No, you're right.
Didn't win people leagues. All of them.
So let me know if anybody has any questions. Got the Mega Duck running. Trying to sell that out today. I'm like debating if I want to do a free slab. The last couple of ones I've done, there hasn't been that many people.
You're right, and I think the hard part is that it's for any tight end ever. It's very difficult to be consistent in any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
And it's so hard for a rookie to have earned the level of trust of the quarterback, playing time, the blocking assignments, to do all that so well as a rookie, to be on the field enough, to be consistent, to not just be a waiver ad that you pick up, you play, and then you're like, dang it, that's not it. So it'd be fun. It'd be fun if it happened. All right, that was today's news and notes presented by USAA Insurance. You can learn more at usaa.com/insurance.
Go.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, so I have next week. I'm going to be streaming next week, but then the week after, I'm going to be off for like a week and a half. So I want to get everything sold out. I don't know if I'll do another Mega Duck, because I don't want to like leave stuff for like a week and a half and I'm not on.
All right, we have each selected an ice and fire pick for today's show, and we're going to tease them a little bit before we let you know what category these players are in. But Jason gets the privilege of beginning our ice and fire segment.
Yeah, and I'm going to start us off with a tight end. We were just talking about rookie tight ends and how they are, and I'm going to talk about last year's tight end number 3. Super uber talented He-Man has set at times the NFL record for yardage. George Kittle
Chops down trees between plays on the sideline.
Yeah, it's crazy that you can never like. It's so like you never know when it's gonna be a busy whatnot day anymore.
Fortunately,
It sucks.
not fired.
Ice.
Oh, George Kittle.
George Kittle is my ice player, my ice pick. And I think that it's a bad pick right now in fantasy football. All of us have him ranked slightly behind his ADP. I'm the lowest. I've got him at tight end 7. If you look at how his
Got to fill up 2 more spots too in the fantasy league, and then we can schedule a draft.
We're going to year 7 here, and he had 11 touchdowns last year. You think, well, yeah, George Kittle and tight ends, their touchdowns.
Of course, George Kittle had 11 touchdowns.
Here's his career season finishes in touchdown: 2, 5, 5, 2, 6. He's never been a touchdown guy. Now, last year, 11 touchdowns. As we know, we say this all the time, and it's just proven year after year after year in every position. Touchdowns are not a sticky stat. There are extremely few players. I mean, you can count them on one hand that are like every year they're going to be double-digit touchdowns. Even great running backs who do it one year, turn around the next year and don't have it done. The yardage wasn't really there for him. And I know at the end of the year, there's a lot of people really, really in on George Kittle because of what he did with Brock Purdy. He had 7 touchdowns in his final 4 games with Brock Purdy. He was just a machine. He won people championships. Like, awesome.
Let me know if anybody has any questions.
He could do it. He could be the number 1 tight end in the league. If him and Kelsey switched teams, George Kittle would be drafted at the 105, and you could argue it's the best pick in fantasy. Unfortunately, he plays for the San Francisco 49ers. He is not the number 1 target. That's probably Debo. He's not the number 2 target. That's probably Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
He's not the number 3 target. That's Brandon Ayuk.
Yep.
So you're talking about a 4th read in an offense where he is dominant, but he's not going to be able to get it done. He only had an 11.5% target share in the games where he played with all of those players. In fact, there were only 2 games where Purdy was playing and Debo was playing. And in those games, he had 22 yards and 29 yards. He can get it done. He's talented. He'll have monstrous games, but his bad games are going to be really bad because he's also just a kick butt blocker. I mean, he'll block people into the ground and set things up for their team in ways where he can have an amazing game for the San Francisco 49ers. But for fantasy football,
So let me know if anybody has any questions on anything.
Year 7, 1 complete season for George Kittle. He hasn't played every game since 2018, so that's another thing you need to factor in, right? Like last year, 60 for 765 is not doing it for you if you don't have the leverage.
right, you need the 11th. In fact, over the last decade, there's only one top 5 tight end who is 4th on his team in targets, and that was Robert Tonyan, who only had 59 targets,
I remember it,
but he
yeah.
had 11 touchdowns. So if you get 11 touchdowns, sure, but that's not something we can predict in fantasy. But here is my biggest point. I think the biggest reason I'm super ice on George Kittle is not because I don't like George Kittle. I love Greg Dulcich this year. Of course, I'd rather have George Kittle on my roster than Greg Dulcich. He's great, but he's a 5th round pick right now. Right now, in order to select him, you're giving up Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I'm probably staying away from George Kittle.
Those guys are going to be every week difference makers. You're giving up Miles Sanders or Cam Akers or Alexander Madison right now. You're giving up Terry McLaurin, Hopkins, or Watson, or Judy. It's just not worth it. The inconsistency you're going to receive will not be worth it just because you're like, I want to fill my tight end position and feel good about it. Don't do it. That's my case.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very fair. I saw those numbers, the target share when all those 4 guys were on the field. Now, look, San Francisco is going to go through their injuries because they do it every year. Sometimes it's Kittle. If you took 1 or 2 of those pieces out, that's a trade target for sure. But as it stands right now, we have not. I don't think any of us have even thought about drafting him at that price.
Correct.
And every name that you mentioned that you're choosing him over, I think every single one of those I'd rather have over George Kittle.
Yeah, I genuinely would. I'm curious. I don't know what my exposure is. I wonder if I have any.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not at that price. So I will. I'll take up the mantle next because we don't want to just poop all over the tight end position. I mean, we do because we do it every year.
Mm-hmm. Well, they do it. Yeah.
Well, it's on them. Yeah. And this guy made it easier last year because he wasn't participating a lot. I want to talk about the brand new.
Let me know if anybody has any questions on anything.
The New York.
Only got 7 Megaducks left.
The offseason surprise edition. The tallest man in the receiver room. We're talking about Darren Waller. We're talking about a player that's made a huge contribution in the past, getting older, changing teams, Daniel Jones confidence. But I'm here to tell you, this is a fire thing.
Fire.
Darren Waller. Darren Waller is going to make a difference in your leagues this year. And you can look to the discussion that Jason just brought forth regarding the draft position of George Kittle, and then you can look Darren Waller's way, and you see him sometimes in the 7th, into the 6th round. So Here's what I have to say about Darren Waller that I want to open your eyes to. Why I'm getting more and more, I would say, enthusiastic about his potential in New York. First of all, the last two full seasons he did finish as the tight end three and the tight end two.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Those 2 years, the average was 98 receptions, 131 targets, 6 touchdowns. You look at the Giants wide receiver room, you look at the targets that they have right now, it is almost impossible to define a leader in them.
It also feels like they shouldn't be allowed to be called Giants.
Oh boy!
You know what I mean? Like,
You
it's
know
really like that's a misnamed wide receiver room.
Yeah.
Wow, the New York Giants
Hey,
have a
itty bitty.
bunch of slot receivers.
They play big, Jason.
They sit on boosters in that room.
Oh,
You're heated today.
I don't know. I've got a lot more caffeine in the system. We're recording in the morning. Look, in fantasy football, there's a clear negative correlation between team wide receiver and tight end shares. Historically, offenses without a clear wide receiver one see boosted tight end target shares. They went out, they wanted to equip Daniel Jones, who they brought back, to be successful in this offense. And who's the wide receiver one in New York? You say a name out loud at the same time. Three.
but it's got to be a wide receiver.
It's got to be a wide receiver. 3, 2, 1.
Sterling Shepard.
Oh, really? The guy coming off the Achilles and
It
ACL,
is.
who just came off the pup.
Yes.
So you got Wandale and Crowder, and you've got Paris Campbell. The answer might just be Darren Waller. And so since Daniel Jones, since his entire tenure in New York, wide receivers have seen less than 60% of the targets every single year, and that's without Darren Waller in the equation. So Daniel Bellinger, who did not profile to be much of an impact last year, was getting involved in the offense as a rookie very early. I'm seeing Kyle share the VHS cover for the movie Little Giants.
Is that Rick Moranis?
Oh yeah, that was
Thank you, Bruce.
Little Giants. Oh boy. But right now, Darren Waller, he's flashing in camp. He's a matchup nightmare. He's in a good place he's happy to be in New York. Linebackers, we know they can't cover Darren Waller. And I think that the price is why he's brought up here as a flyer. If you were building into his draft price in fantasy football the fact that he has to reach these certain thresholds, it would be too scary to say, hey, new team, new quarterback. But the Giants showed me last year with very limited personnel. Brian Dable put his quarterback in a position to where they could compete regularly in games. You bring back Saquon, you take some pressure off.
Jamil, if anybody has any questions on anything,
I don't know if a healthy Darren Waller can't get 8 or 9 targets a game in this offense. He helps his quarterback so much. So I'm very excited about his potential. I wanted to take him in our mock draft yesterday, but he was stolen from me.
No, I'm all aboard here with the Walrus. It's going to be great to have him back. Thank you.
I can't believe I missed the drop until the end. That was really
It's all right.
that was pathetic.
We got there. Some of the
I blame
quotes,
Al.
some of the quotes coming out of New York they're just sensational. You have a quote here from Connor Hughes. It appears the Giants have taken Darren Waller out. Some say for a breather. I think it's to force Daniel Jones to throw elsewhere. Like they're just the buzz out of there is incredible. If he is truly healthy, he will be the top target for the New York Giants. And look, getting a top target for any team, it's a great thing to have. When you don't have to spend a top 5 round pick on him, even better. And then it turns out it's a onesie position, a top target onesie position available at the back of the 6th round right now. That's beautiful.
And I will throw in Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, deep threats. Daniel Jones has had success there. If those guys can take the top off this defense and let Darren Waller run free in the intermediate routes in the middle of the field, I think it could be very, very interesting. Mike is going to share a player with us in a moment. You're going to have to wait. All right, Mike, it's your turn to share a nice or fire pick with us.
All right, I'm going to talk about a stalwart of fantasy football, someone who has dominated for us at the running back position year after year. after a year. It's Mr. Alvin Kamara. We're going to get right into it.
Nice.
So let me know if anybody has any questions on anything. Only 7 Mega Duck spots left.
Alvin Kamara heading into the 2023 season. Yes, there is an ADP dip because we don't know what's going on. We're going to have more clarification of will he miss any games or not. I'm projecting he will miss at least a couple games, anywhere from 1 to 4, but that matters. Like when you're drafting a player who is suspended, they can't go on your IR. They just sit there on the bench waiting to unleash them. Meanwhile, they are absolutely killing the moves that you can make when hot waiver guys pop in week 1, and you're just like, well, I got to sit here with Alvin Kamara. Here's the ugly side of the story on top of that.
Let me know if anybody has any questions. We only got 7 Mega Duck spots. The 1-of-1 booklet is first place for that race.
2 years.
It's for the top row and the 1-of-1 booklet. Everything in the box is an RPA, so you're guaranteed an RPA, and you get anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks. And then with every duck purchase, you get 5 pulls from the pull box where you could hit the Jordan Love or Cam Akers. You get to pick which one you want. Let me know if you guys have any questions, but we only got 7 spots left before we run it.
4 years of his career, he had at least one 40-plus yard rush. In the last 2 years, he's barely, like 30 was his longest. Like the explosive plays on the ground, they just haven't been there for Alvin Kamara the last 2 years, despite the volume. The receptions have gone down since the Drew Brees years. We have 6 total rushing touchdowns.
If anybody has any questions, just let me know.
And like Andy said, the terrible efficiency marks. It was over the past 2 years, a touchdown per 77 carries. That's not the Alvin Kamara that we've grown to love over his first few years in the league. And look at his competition, right? We have Jamal Williams, who got himself a nice, decent contract. And then they spent a day 2 pick on Kendre Miller, which to me really emphasizes how the New Orleans Saints feel about Kendre Miller, because not only did they spend a higher draft capital pick, which we want, our running backs, we want a day 1 or a day 2 pick. He was hurt at the time. And NFL teams, if you've been paying attention to the draft for any amount of years, are scared hoopless for anyone who is injured in the draft season. You get outliers like Jameson Williams, who was coming
So let me know if anybody has any questions. We also only have 7 mystery packs left and 3 slabs chasers left in those.
Running backs who are hurt, even if they're really good, they just tumble down draft boards. Look at Sean Tucker. Like, this guy was an incredible running back, and teams he went undrafted. Like, teams like, well, no, we're not even going to spend a 6th or 7th round pick on this guy. He's hurt. We're going to see what he can do, and maybe we'll try and get him as an undrafted free agent. Last year, you had Alvin Kamara getting all that volume because here are the running backs who took snaps for the Saints last year. Jordan Howard, Dwayne Washington, Eno Benjamin, David Johnson, Tony Jones Jr., Mark Ingram, Latavius Murray. This was the competition last year for Alvin Kamara. I know.
Played for the Saints last year.
Dude, when I went and looked at this list, it blew my mind. They're like Eno Benjamin. I forgot he was on the team for a couple
He got
weeks.
picked up after the Cardinals though.
And like I said, Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, we have actual competition for him now, especially at the goal line. Both Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller are big body power backs that you can just put it on the goal line and get 2 yards. Jamal Williams was incredible at it last year. Nick Underhill, who is a beat reporter for the Saints, has already highlighted Kendre Miller multiple times throughout the training camp experience. Again, the suspension is incoming. And then here is a stat which just kind of highlights everything. Because Alvin Kamara he's at the age cliff, okay? He is 28 years old.
Peering out across.
Yeah. For running backs, which this factors into the whole running back discussion that's been going on for several weeks now with guys trying to get paid. Since 2014, only 10 running backs averaged 12-plus fantasy points per game in their age 28 season, which is not that great. Alvin Kamara was barely over 12 points last year and finished as the running back 18, appearing in 15 games. You have to have an outlier touchdown season from Kamara. So those 10 running backs, all of them had 12-plus touchdowns, except for Aaron Jones last year and Jordan Bell, who's you always have a wild name when you have these stats. It seems like a really bad bet
We still got it. That's
Let
right.
me know if anybody has any questions on anything.
Guy.
Yeah.
It just seems like a really bad bet to carry a 28-year-old running back whose efficiency has plummeted, and he has to get touchdowns. Meanwhile, you have a young buck, and then a guy who just had a bajillion touchdowns last season. It is. It is a lot of touchdowns, but I am. Alvin Kamara is pretty much off my draft board, if anywhere close to where he's going.
Let me ask you this then, Jason. Like, what's he worth if Alvin Kamara? Like, I think he's going to catch 50 passes for this team.
Yeah.
I've been watching the camp stuff. I mean, the receiving game, that's where he excels. If he catches 50
He
passes,
caught 57 last year.
yeah, if he catches 50 passes, but he's a part of this offense with the touchdowns not guaranteed, what's he truly like? Take the name out of it.
Yeah.
Are you, and is the suspension going to play a part in whether you're willing to hold that? Like, if he's just 50 catches,
Let me know if anybody has any questions on anything.
I mean, you're wasting a roster spot, aren't you?
That's how I am looking.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is we're going to know hopefully here pretty soon.
Yeah.
What the suspension.
Let me know if you guys got
is,
questions on anything.
And that will allow his ADP to rest because obviously right now he's the running back 29. He doesn't cost a ton. If you had no suspension, I'd be like, no. I mean, of course that's a fine draft pick to get a guy at running back 29 who's such a good pass catcher and has done it before. But if he loses a couple games and then you've got to hold him and you have everything you described, I've had a really hard time every time I'm around his ADP going, do I want to do it? Because I do see he's definitely getting less and less efficient, but he still catches the ball. So he's not a bum. He's not off my boards. But you make a really compelling case of the fact that the competition is super different now.
Okay. Well, let's turn the page for a moment and let's talk about T. Higgins. I mean, who doesn't love T. Higgins?
I love him.
I love T.
I mean, T. Higgins is
He's great.
a great player,
Ice.
right?
We are bringing the fire.
I think we'll have some good discussion in a moment.
This one I feel very strongly about, not because look, we're not sitting here doing an ice and fire.
What's up, NSA? So let me know if anybody has any questions on anything.
You just talked about George Kittle.
Only got 7 Mega Duck spots left.
Roll. He's going to have.
And we're going to run it.
But it's about the draft cost. It's about what to expect from this roster and this team. And the more I dove into T. Higgins and looked at this draft cost and looked at what kind of player he actually is relative to the draft cost, he's an ice player for me this year. And I'm sorry, because I know we like watching him play football. He is drafted as the wide receiver 12 right now in the 3rd round. In fact, I think we've been in quite a few mocks where you've had that chance to grab him, and maybe I'm misremembering, but you guys passed that time on T. Higgins when you're staring down some of these other options. You're drafting him at his super tippy top ceiling, in my opinion. Wide receiver 12 is a position and a finish that he's never approached before. He had 4 of 17 weeks last year. We actually finished inside the top 12 at all. And 2 of those 4 weeks they were without Jamar Chase on the field. And I know a lot's been said about he was banged up, and so he started some games and he didn't play some games. Look, I'm looking at what to expect from him this season. He's finished at wide receiver 17. That was his peak last year. But you are now expecting, and this is the headline that I want you to hear. You're expecting a player who is 42nd in the league in targets per route run to finish as a top 12 receiver on the Cincinnati Bengals. I think he's a top 24 guy. I think that's where he'll end up. But he's going ahead of players that I think you might admit have higher upside. DK Metcalf and the end zone targets and his ability to be the one in the offense. Chris Olave, Mike, who we talked about having tremendous upside. And I'm going to throw another wide receiver 2 or 1B, whatever you want to say, Devontae Smith. I'd much rather have him and pick him at this spot than I would T. Higgins. And so you have this choice with T. Higgins where, look, yes, he's a highly productive player, but you can pass on him and draft highly productive players a round or 2 later. Metcalf and Debo are more than a round later than T. Higgins. Keenan Allen and Calvin Ridley are 2 rounds later than T. Higgins. And so I am not willing at this draft spot to take him where he has to finish well above his highest career finish, because I just don't think it's realistic. Like T Higgins, here's how it happens, and you're going to say it's the same thing you said about George Kittle, 10 plus touchdowns. If T Higgins ends up 10 plus touchdowns, then he can overcome being 42nd in targets per route run and not necessarily running as many routes as some of the top tier wide receivers. But if he doesn't get 10 plus touchdowns, I really think you're going to be unhappy with the cadence of performances from T Higgins. So I think it's a hot take because I don't think anybody said anything negative about T Higgins this offseason, which is evident in the ADP of wide receiver 12. But I really just don't think. I think the Joe Burrow cologne is rubbing off. And I think anything that touches Joe Cool.
And hold your cards? Like, what do you mean? Like this?
But yeah, I think
like top loaders.
That's really my case. And I have no clue if you agree.
Yeah, does it smell like cool water? What's the Joe Cool fragrance?
I really don't know.
Cool water's not nice. No, Joe Cool. I mean, I don't know. Google what's the most expensive cologne.
Oh, bring around to shows? No, like the Zion cases? No, I don't. I've been debating picking one up for a while, but no, I don't have any of those for sale, unfortunately. Honestly, when I go to a card show, I just bring one of these. Like, I don't sell stuff at card shows usually, so I just bring like a box, and everything I buy goes into that. I usually fill up one of those at card show.
It's a real sad smell. It's depressing.
And like those, like I don't even know if that's something you're looking for, but those I just like go to a card show and buy some, or go to a card shop, because like otherwise like shipping is not worth it with those. But I get those for like maybe $4 at a card shop.
It's not that he couldn't do it; it's that he's going to have his career best year, and then you've broken even on your draft pick. That's the point.
So I will say this: I agree with you that you are drafting him basically at his ceiling. I don't think you're drafting a wide receiver.
So, if anybody has any questions on anything,
top 5 guy. You're hoping he finishes as wide receiver 12. There are spots in the draft where that's what you're staring at. You're staring at guys that are near their ceiling, and that's what you've got to draft. And obviously, that's more common in the first few rounds. So it's just a matter of your confidence in the player, your confidence in the situation, your confidence in the team. I think the best stat that you shared was where he was in routes run. That gets a little bit scary, but I do think it is worth at least giving the other side of the argument. You brought up that T. Higgins had a couple games he missed. He basically didn't play in 3 games. Now, if you look at his game log, he didn't miss a game. Sure, he was there, and so it looks like he finished.
Yeah, missed the absent Buffalo game, obviously, that everybody did. But,
sure, yeah,
but he didn't physically 1% snap share in one game.
Exactly. So only 16 games, and then he had 3 games where he went out early. So you're talking about 13 games where he finished as the wide receiver 17. So you could see the path. But I went back and I looked because Chase missed some games. You talked about Higgins had big games without him. In the games, there were 9 full games that Jamar Chase and T. Higgins played together. And the 17-game pace of those games for T. Higgins would have been 136 targets, 87 receptions, 1,192 yards, and 9.5 touchdowns, which is right around there. That last year, if he had done that, that would have been the wide receiver 8. So T. Higgins is really good, but if you think other people going next to him have the actual chance to finish as a top 5 guy or at a different position being better, then I think it's a good ice argument to be made.
All right, Jason, I think you're up.
I am up, and I'm going to talk about a player that was on yesterday's show in an important way. It is a player that one of our producers just hates. Absolutely hates. And that producer is Kyle Borger. Yeah. Last night, he had a chance to draft Keenan Allen, and he must have been like, man, Keenan's so ice. But he's wrong.
Fire.
Keenan, and the joke here is that this is because
this is a joke for one person, right?
No, I think there's like 4 or 5 of us that are enjoying this. Keenan Allen, I think, is a fire pick. He is obviously a great wide receiver, has been for the last 6 years. Since 2017, over the last 6 years, he ranks only behind Devontae Adams in total targets, receptions, first down. He's just been really, really great. You look at the last 6 years, he finishes the wide receiver 3, 12, 8, 14, 14. And then last year was bad. He finishes wide receiver 42, but that's because he only played in 10 games. And he missed basically the first 10 weeks of the season. However, when he got back from week 11 on, he was not good. He was great. He was the wide receiver 4 in fantasy. From that,
So, if anybody has any questions on anything,
consistent. I know he can get a lot of targets, and in PPR leagues is good, but I just don't think he's got a ceiling. Yes, he really does. He can get it done every single game as the first read target for a great offense with a great quarterback. We talked about Kellen Moore coming over to this team for the Chargers. I'm very excited to see them open this offense up a little bit and to have Herbert, who I love for fantasy this year, not be playing with broken ribs and hopefully have his targets. But Kellen Moore has done a lot with the slot player. If you look at the last 3 years, in 2022, CeeDee Lamb led the NFL in receiving yards from the slot. In 2021, Cedric Wilson quietly had the third most slot touchdowns behind only Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams. In 2020,
the fuck? Chrome crashed.
see them open this offense up a little bit and to have Herbert, who I love for fantasy this year, not be playing with broken ribs and hopefully have his targets. But Kellen Moore has done a lot with the slot player. If you look at the last 3 years, in 2022, CeeDee Lamb led the NFL in receiving yards from the slot.
Just rebooting the computer. My sound stopped working. I wonder if it's overheating down there. It doesn't feel too hot. If anybody has any questions, just let me know.
Here, it's time to get ready for those fantasy football drafts. Head over to ultimatedraftkit.com. Pick up your UDK, our full projections, sleepers, breakouts, busts, values, and this thing will be updating all until the NFL kickoff on that big Thursday. Head there right now, ultimatedraftkit.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in. It's backup football time.
Oh no! You know what? I'm happy you did that.
I can't give it the full one.
That's because you don't want to lose that for actual kickoff, right?
It doesn't deserve it. It's not.
It just rolls off the tongue, though, right? It's backup football time.
It's kind of football time. Now, keep in mind, last year we saw superstar sensation Josh Jacobs dominate lead into the Hall of Fame game. So
I hear you loud and clear. Zach Wilson, move him up.
That's what he said. Yeah, Zach Wilson starts tonight. That's good football. Or, I mean, good TV. Are you not rooting for him?
Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
No.
Let me ask you this as we kick off today's episode.
I root for 99% of players. Zach Wilson he pushed himself into a 1% where I'm like, nah.
We do have football tonight. It is backup football. It is the Hall of Fame game. And we're so hungry for it that we'll probably watch it and then be reminded of how bad it is.
We'll peek in.
But, it'll be fun to have football on the television. I was going to ask this because it's Jets-Browns tonight. And we got a big show today, by the way. We got news. We got the wide receiver rankings countdown. We got best ball breakdown. And we'll be with you today, tomorrow, every weekday through the end of the season. Let me ask you this about the Jets. Because, we have been jovial about some of the habits of their new quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who, I don't feel guilty about that because he puts himself out there in lots of different ways.
He's a unique fella.
And yet, I have been very impressed with Aaron Rodgers recently. In particular, his comments defending Nathaniel Hackett, who's considered his, it's his favorite coach historically that he's ever worked with. And
is that what he said?
yes.
I believe
He said one of his
Yeah,
favorites.
one of. Okay.
And he defended him because Sean Payton kind of broke the code and came out and openly criticized Nathaniel Hackett. And the comments that I saw from Rodgers on that I thought were leadership comments. And then all the reports from camp, all the tape, very, very welcoming to Zach Wilson. Very, very much working with him to, he didn't get that from Brett Favre in Green Bay.
Right.
And there is a torch to be passed here, even though the
He
joke.
didn't give it to Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Correct. So what I'm saying is he's turning over a new leaf in these graybeard days that I think I'm impressed with. I think he's been a great leader for the Jets, and I am very optimistic about the Jets' chances this year. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, the situation is just backwards. It's different. He's the replacement. He's coming in to replace who was the starter versus them drafting someone to replace him.
Sure.
So you would expect him to have a better attitude in this situation.
I would hope.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm
But
just saying we would
expect
expect that of humanity. Like you would say, he should come in and be a leader.
And just to play devil's advocate here, because
So, if anybody has any questions on anything,
bullish on the Jets, their prospects, their fantasy players, we're sure that a Nathaniel Hackett partially run team, trading for a Hall of Fame level quarterback for a team that looks like they're a quarterback away from making a Super Bowl. We're sure it's going to work this time.
This would be a bit of a
Because we've been here.
a bit of a Russell Wilson Broncos situation.
Correct.
Yeah, I feel man, a really good defense where you barely need anything out of the offense at all.
And he's not Hackett's not the head coach.
so if anybody has any questions, we only got 7 dust spots left, and we're gonna run it.
There are many parallels to what is happening for the Jets that we went through with the Broncos.
And what's really funny is one of my things to remember was that when quarterbacks have lost it, it's like players that have lost it, they don't get it back. Russ didn't look great, and then it was like, I don't think he's going to get better necessarily. And Rodgers wasn't that great last year. And I know we blame the Devontae Adams, but
I blame the broken hand too. I mean, that didn't help.
maybe he's. We'll see.
Yeah, I've got my thoughts on that. I was not in on Denver for the record last year,
no,
so I have a right to be in on one of these.
That is accurate.
I made money betting against their win total last year. It was delightful. Like I said, wide receiver ranking show today. Mike mentioned it at the top. The ultimate draft kit available right now, being updated every day. We made tweaks based off the Cooper Cup news recently. I tweeted something very early this morning. I've been up way too long today. But sometimes there are things you do in your life that you do just because you got to do them. And they don't bring you joy. You got to pay your taxes, right? You got to do the chores around the house.
Well, West is nice.
Richard yeah, really. This goes with the computer jokes. But the third one is it doesn't bring me joy, but you have to do it sometimes. It's bumping up Najee Harris and Alexander Madison in my rankings.
Well.
And this morning, Najee Harris got a little bump.
All right.
Just
Okay.
out of research in the Steelers camp, dependency on the run, just giving them a little bit more volume, maybe a little more effectiveness. Not something I enjoy doing, but I'm willing to do it.
Okay.
For the good of the Foot Clan.
That's a
For the
big
good
man.
of the foot.
Big man over here.
Just saying. The tweaks are happening every single day. The community is jointhefoot.com. That gets you access to our premium Discord server where you can find Foot Clan leagues. To join, this is the time to jump into leagues. People are always looking for new players. And then if you are starting a league and you're looking for someone to join, that's a great place to go. You'll find an extra episode of the show every week and a lot of premium perks that will go on to the regular season. That's all at jointhefoot.com as well. Let's jump into the news.
News and notes from around the league, presented by USAA Insurance.
All right, Jets Browns tonight. Few pieces of news or hype or speculation we can talk about. Another reiteration by John Harbaugh. He doesn't know when J.K. Dobbins is going to return to the team. All of the language.
There are 7 Megaduck spots left, and then we're going to run it.
he's not involved in the
So getting pretty close.
broad negotiations. So it's
Right.
like they're just talking. You can tell he's disappointed. Mike, you tweeted yesterday about Gus Edwards.
Yeah, we need to be paying attention. We're starting to get into that time. I know Melvin Gordon is there. I think Melvin Gordon is kind of past his moment, and yeah, there was certainly Gus Edwards' hope and hype last year. I think it worked out for a game, but Gus Edwards was also recovering from his own injury.
So, if anybody has any questions, we only got 7 Mega Duck spots left, and we're going to run it. And we got 14 Blue Duck spots.
Gus Edwards looks like he's healthy.
So, if you have any questions on anything. What's up, Rami?
To me,
How many legs does he have?
he's got 2 working legs.
Got it.
As far as I can tell.
All right.
But
Nothing
to me,
much.
it seems like if JK
I'm ready for this week to be over. It has been a long week.
Be the next person up, and the excitement for the Ravens, it would carry over to Gus Edwards. So I think that he is someone who, like, if you're in a deeper league, he should be on your radar as just a stash on a big bench.
We also talked yesterday, Jason. You brought up the fact that historically
Right.
we're not
I
buying
think
into the dips
payday
of
for me
players.
is Wednesdays, and I
And
can't remember
let's
if it
talk
was
about
this
the fact
Wednesday
that
or it's the next
Players
Wednesday.
that get injured in camp, they don't generally meet their ADP value. And Mike also tweeted yesterday about the tight end situation, which has been very valuable historically in Dallas with the Scoon Man,
Yeah.
who we all want to see succeed. He's hurt.
Yes.
And, when you look at opportunities there, maybe you need to pay more attention to Jake Ferguson in deeper leagues.
100%.
Dalton Schultz was not a name we knew until we knew it, right? The involvement, Dak throwing to that
So,
position.
if anybody has any questions on anything.
And Ferguson's been pretty good in camp. Last I saw.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Already at
I'll have to check it out.
Ferguson.
Let me see.
So yeah, it's definitely a name if you're playing on underdog. Where you're rolling 3 tight ends deep. I've got Ferguson on a lot of leagues.
ESPN.
That's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie.
Around the Baltimore wide receivers, just
That's funny.
Just the dumbest speculation.
yeah, I'm not. It's just Mike brought up Zay Flowers yesterday. Said Flowers and Beckham are solidifying themselves, but Bateman's still in the pup. So
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still true, right? You get more reps.
I like that
more
one.
time. We just talked about injuries in the preseason.
And there was, there was some puff pieces coming out about Nelson Aguilar. So it was like,
Yeah.
he was just kind of floating there in the midst of like,
He's been very
I love Zay Flowers, but what happens if all of a sudden Aguilar is the starting wide receiver with Odell Beckham? As of right now, it does not seem that way.
And then the last piece of news, and I didn't get to see the clip, but Commanders head coach Ron Rivera himself said don't sleep on Jacoby Brissett when asking about the team's quarterback competition. It seems like a weird comment. I didn't get to see it, like I said. I mean,
The
Great concession.
Yeah.
so
So
yeah,
when
Jacoby Brissett,
when he puts Brissett in, he's just, I told you. I mean, I told you not to sleep on this guy.
what do you want to happen?
Oh, that's easy. I want Sam Howell to be the starter and start 17 games. But I want to own a football team as well. So, there's a lot of things in life that you really want, and you're just not going to get them. But I like Sam Howell. I really liked, some of what he did in college. And
So, if anybody has any questions on anything.
I'm sad that his opportunity is coming without investment in him and the obligation to let him play through bad moments. I think he could develop into a good quarterback if he was given the rope. But I mean, this is just proof right here. He has no rope, none. You
Right.
don't play well. Don't sleep on Jacoby. It's gonna. I mean, there's no chance that both of these quarterbacks don't play this year.
Well, and I think he infers here that Jacoby Brissett may win the job from the onset. That's
Yes.
what he's saying. And so
Jacoby's good.
I think I'm at the point now with Terry McLaurin where I want a known commodity that I don't have to say in my head, what if he gets somebody better than this? Because he's never gotten it. So to me, I think I'm rooting for Jacoby because of what he provided for Amari Cooper last year, which is great. Amari Cooper was a big surprise. Nobody expected the kind of season from him, and Jacoby was the fuel to that. So I think I might be rooting for because Sam Hill, it could go the other direction.
Oh, for sure.
You could wash out 4 weeks of the season, Terry McLaurin not producing, and then you're like, oh, now we're going to make the switch.
So
Anybody
you're
have any
just saying
questions?
you
Let
want
me know.
the first half of the year to to be better and not the second half of the year.
I guess yes. That is
Okay.
what I am saying, because there will be a change.
I am getting news
Uh-oh.
from Coach Rivera saying don't sleep on Jake Fromm.
Really?
Yeah. They're covering all aspects of the quarterback position. Just Jake Fromm is apparently the third string quarterback for the Commanders.
Right, which you can go from third to first pretty quick there. That was today's news and notes brought to you by USAA Insurance. Learn more at usaa.com/insurance. It is time, gentlemen, to jump in for our rankings episode.
Wide receivers.
All right, today we begin the wide receiver rankings countdown, and we begin at number 20 with DJ Moore. A reminder, all the tiered rankings, customizable scoring, printable cheat sheets, the mobile app, all the changes to the rankings. You can find them all at ultimatedraftkit.com. DJ Moore, here we are again. He is a mainstay on the 11 through 20 episode of the wide receiver rankings.
Yeah, he lives here.
26 years old, a brand new member of the Chicago Bears. I believe I read recently that Justin Fields, in terms of the MVP betting market, has more money placed down on him to win MVP than I believe Allen and Mahomes and Hurts combined.
It makes sense because his odds are going to be a much larger payout, and it's like it's the Lamar Jackson effect of like seeing what he could do rushing wise, and if the passing takes the next step, like freaky stuff happens.
I would say it's the Jalen Hurts.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, last year more money was placed on Hurts. So the reason I brought it up is simply, Jason, that the expectation is there publicly for a big step forward for Justin Fields. We spent an off season, you telling me Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball more, us looking historical. Historical wasn't prescriptive for Jalen Hurts. What was prescriptive was the addition of a huge wide receiver to that offense that changed what they were capable of doing. This offense has DJ Moore now. So could people be sleeping on a top 12 wide receiver in DJ Moore this season?
Yeah, I think that is possible. I've risen on DJ Moore, and you're right to bring up Fields. Fields is the entirety of whether or not DJ Moore has a good season. And it's not a matter of will they let him throw more. It's just, is he going to level up? Do you believe that Justin Fields is a good thrower of the football? Because that's what's going to matter for DJ Moore. And I have started to believe, I mean, we've seen it, right? We've seen it several times here. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, these guys who have that dual threat ability, who level up their passing to a level that's like, oh yeah, this is really good for their fantasy assets. You know, Diggs is great and AJ Brown is great. So can DJ Moore actually succeed to a level he hasn't yet? Absolutely. I believe that really can happen, but it is entirely on the basis of whether or not Fields can level up. Pre-NFL draft, I believed Fields was a very good passer. And so
I know his name's pretty good.
I think I need to put my money where my mouth is with regards to DJ Moore and believe that it will be good for him.
We've had, and it's something to be said about how good DJ Moore really is. I mean, we've had Diggs moving teams successful, Hopkins moving teams successful. Tyreek Hill last year, more yards, more receptions than ever in Kansas City, switching teams. Confidence in Tua wasn't there. Confidence in Josh Allen wasn't there. AJ Brown switching teams, very successful. So is DJ Moore on that level? His fantasy finishes the last 4 years, 18, 22, 19, 22. This is the guy that gets the middle management job, and then they're like, do you want a promotion? He's like, I'm good 18 to 22.
Yeah, he's always been very inconsistent, and we've desired him to get a better quarterback. We've blamed the quarterback, but we're going to find out, I think, this year whether it's just this is who DJ Moore is, and he disappears sometimes. He's a C in our consistency grade, about 40% of the time, giving a really good fantasy game. And
honestly, he wouldn't have a terrible team.
Even though he finishes as a wide
receiver. You have some good positions, like Pitts isn't bad, London,
it comes about
good running back. Definitely wouldn't win, but his team wouldn't be terrible.
Roster, even though he finishes as a wide receiver too.
You want to hear just a tiny little perhaps serendipitous situation here. Currently, DJ Moore is the wide receiver 23. In the year 2020, Stephon Diggs changed teams to the Buffalo Bills. He was, in fact, ADP the wide receiver 23.
Okay, and this is the Mike Wright Redemption Tour with Madison and Moore and Gibson and
Just saying, like, Stephon Diggs.
P-Ryan.
Stephon Diggs was.
Yeah, they do have a cool
Josh
kicker.
Allen, which, like, at the time, absolutely made sense because you didn't see Josh Allen take a historic bump up as a passer. But Stephon Diggs, the ADP was the risk was baked into the ADP, and the risk is baked in here for DJ Moore.
Wide receiver 23, fifth round pick. I would take him there. I think the upside is worth it. I think DJ Moore is an elite wide receiver. I really believe that. It's been opportunity in quarterback play. I think, I would be saying the same thing about Terry McLaurin having a new opportunity someplace else. So is it scary? Oh, yeah. I mean, very scary. They had 2 total games where a wide receiver was over 12 fantasy points last year. So that's not great.
No,
That's not great, but they also had no wide receivers last year. They lost, Mooney, and they didn't have other talent on the roster. So,
When did they lose Mooney though?
felt like really early.
I mean, he played 12 weeks. So I think it's still notable that poor Mooney couldn't even get over 12 fantasy points. But you're right. I mean, it is a risk. If they don't pass more, we will be disappointed.
Yeah, but at the very least, if they don't pass more, he's going to be the number one read. He's going to have a high target share. And so I think the floor here is basically what you've had the last few years, which is okay. It's not, I said you've been disappointed with DJ Moore because you wanted more and got less. But it's, you're still going to end up with a wide receiver 2. I don't think there's
First
a role where
round.
he ends up outside the top 24 wide receivers.
He is. I saw the video of him taking one of those yins or whatever it's called.
Going ahead of DJ Moore.
Yins,
right now,
I think that's a
1904.
Pittsburgh thing. Whatever those dip things are. I saw the video of that, and that was so
Late
funny.
4th round. I got him at 17, Mike at 21, Jason at 24.
This isn't fair. I was the first believer in Calvin Ridley, and
What's up,
now you guys
Nash?
have jumped my rankings.
You jumped.
Let me know if anybody has any questions on
I just
anything.
haven't moved. I've left him where he's been forever.
Yeah, man, get with the program.
Yeah.
Nash, let me know what you want to pull from.
I'd rather be last than first.
I know. I want to get this sold out.
All right, he hasn't played in the NFL in 700 days.
It's been a
There's that.
slow week on
He's got
whatnot.
a cleat problem. I think.
That guy, all right. Any number between 1 and 7.
But look, Calvin Ridley seems like a huge risk reward selection in this year's draft.
Very.
I don't know if wide receiver. Do you think wide receiver 19 is like the feasible outcome, or do you think this is going to be he's much higher or much lower situation?
Yeah, so
That's
I
crazy.
would say that. I believe he is either going to be closer
Can we just
to
grab from the middle,
wide receiver
Nash?
1, or it's going to be a really.
Or somebody want to pick it?
balanced
All right, I'll
offense
just do this.
where
Oh, that's a
the
pretty good
target
one.
market share isn't there.
Got a Trey McBride rookie, and
Ingram,
bang, I feel like I didn't do you too bad. And let me know what 5 numbers you want. Those you have to pick.
An inconsistent low-end wide receiver 2, and so you're taking that gamble when you draft him as the wide receiver 19 in the 4th round.
Oh shit, my bad, man.
Part of that is
My-
what do you
my
believe
bad
in
on that.
Do you think he's going
Oh well, hopefully I can
to
still
level
pick
up
you
to
a 2-duck.
MVP
My bad.
caliber player?
Ooh,
Their division is
definitely. I know this one for a fact, isn't it?
like odds
Damn,
wise,
man.
Vegas wise.
All right, I'll give you. How about I'll give you 8 numbers out of the pull box to make up for it. My bad on that.
happens with Trevor Lawrence leveling up.
Well, and he's got potential for 4,700 to 5,000 yards passing.
So let me know what 8 numbers you want.
The previous, and like Justin Fields is not doing that. He's not touching that number. They also have a bunch of good players.
You gotta give me numbers. So I don't like to pick from the middle because I mean I can do it if you want, but
He has the potential to be great.
it's up to you.
He has the potential to be
Like I can.
it's like the routes we're watching.
You want me to do it? Like
preseason or in the training.
I just feel bad when you give me numbers because
You're a different
I
speed.
feel like I have an idea of where it is. So I hate when it's just like random. I want to say there's like
4 overall before.
110 in here. You want to give me like
Rookie
a number?
wide receiver 20. and he was the wide receiver 25 in only 13 of 16 games.
And I can start at
And he
that.
was the wide receiver 4.
You give me a number in between that, like
and Julio
55.
Jones
I don't
leaves,
know.
And then,
Could
of
do
course,
55,
Calvin
40
Ridley,
to 48.
with
You got it.
all of his mental health issues
1, 2,
compounded them by the
3,
year-long
4,
suspension
5,
for
6, 7,
gambling.
8,
So
9,
it's
10, 11,
this is
12,
such
13,
an
14,
interesting
15,
experiment
16, 17,
of
18, 19, 20,
like this is a
21,
player who has
22,
done it
23,
before
24,
at an elite
25,
level,
26, 27,
and
28,
yet we
29,
haven't seen him play
30,
football in
31,
basically 2
32,
years.
33,
Does
34, 35,
does he still
36,
have it?
37, 38, 39,
Probably.
41,
He probably does, and
3,
we have
4,
the proof of
5,
the proof
6,
that
7,
Trevor Lawrence can support a wide receiver 1. Christian Kirk was that. It
1,
was
2, 3,
kind
4,
of odd.
5,
Like
6, 7, 8.
felt
All right, let's see how you did.
stronger in the first half for Kirk, and then some more players started to get involved.
Yeah, I think he has some kind of injury, but it's like not bad. Like I think he might be back in
Good passer, good
uh,
upgrade,
training camp.
support a wide
Roger
receiver 1.
Staubach,
So
Philip
it
Dorsett,
is-
rookie. Anthony Miller, Young Stars. Jared Goff, composers. Roger Mercury, rated rookie. Keenan McCardell, wide receiver. Is that one number? Oh, numbered, yeah. To 1250. Chad Johnson, green, and then a Keenan Allen, green mosaic. Let's see. No slab chaser, but appreciate the purchase, man. We're down to 6 mega
because
ducks.
You are this projection here in the ADP. The market is saying we know without a doubt. Kyle, can you pull up Christian Kirk's ADP for me? The ADP says
Yeah, I think Cooper Cup's gonna be fine.
Or that Christian Kirk is the 2.
I usually
That
don't
Calvin
pick
Ridley
Cooper Cup
is
though.
the 1.
Yeah, 6-12.
Like I don't think I'll pick him.
So you have 2.
Nash, you doing the same thing?
Here saying that Calvin Ridley is definitely the 1, and
4 for the mega.
expect
All right, you got it.
You can't say for
1,
sure
2,
right now.
3,
So
4.
This is
Carlos
an
Henderson patch
extremely
and
risky pick, but
bang! There we go.
we want high ceiling players. That's how you win. That's how you win a fantasy football championship.
All right, let me know what 5 numbers you want, man.
I think that the risk of the back of the 4th is probably worth it.
We're going to take a quick break. The first 2 wide
1,
receivers.
2, 3,
We're
4,
going to take the
5,
first snaps
6,
of Brandon
7,
team.
8, 9,
The next guy we talked
1,
about
2,
might not have
3,
a quarterback. He's
4, 5. I'm gonna give you 6. 6 is pretty cool, so I'll give you that. Got a Taiwan Taylor quad relic, 2 patches and 2 jerseys. I mean 2 balls to 75. Got a Jonathan Allen pink. Got a Big Ben and Kurt Warner. Steve McNair and Eddie George, number to 1250. Got an Arnold Ebikite, rated rookie, and an Aaron Donald Dominators. And let's see.
He has been a must pick.
No slab, but sweet patch.
In a lot of mock drafts this offseason.
Sweet patch card. Oh, let me put it back so it's like on the screen. Thing's sweet.
Oh, really?
Yes, there is some cold water being thrown on the once magnificent fire. That
Yeah, I
was
feel like I was surprised
Hollywood Brown.
Stafford's
I
still
know
playing.
The talent of Hollywood Brown is there.
Yeah, he was doing so good. I mean,
last year.
I don't know. I just don't.
But I also think he may.
I'm just
play
not a huge
4,
Cooper
6,
Kupp
8
guy.
Weeks with some combination of Clayton Tune, and yeah, that's a player. Yeah, I heard sounds from Deuce Valley.
I'm pretty sure that Clayton Tune was like PFF's #1 ranked passer last year.
Thank you. Also,
All right, we're down to 5 mega ducks.
Let's
get this sold out today. I'll probably be on to like 6-ish, I think, today.
Don't both those sound like made-up names?
So we got a while, like 3 hours.
Back on a TV show. Yeah, they were actually
That's a
Wild
Western.
West.
Yeah, that is definitely a Western. This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
No, why'd you both get out and let Kyler Murray play football? But I don't think I'm to the point where we were speculating on Kyler's status for a long time.
Yeah,
I think he could be back in one.
I thought he was done because didn't he have like some bad elbow injury that I didn't think was going away?
Decision now mentally, and so because of that, what am I getting out of the gate? You know, you want to start strong in fantasy. Am I running a risk? You've got a bunch of other players involved there.
Yeah, no, I mean you're not wrong. The Kyler news. We are in Arizona here. I think that we would all say we're pretty confident Kyler is not going to be there week 1. Earlier in the offseason, the trajectory and him even saying like he's trying to get ready for week 1, it seemed far more possible. And
yeah, I probably can't either. I don't know. I have nothing against either one of them. I just don't think they're going to be good.
Completely worthless. If you look at
for sure.
He had 4 games last year at the end of the season where he didn't have.
I like Godwin.
He
Godwin
was
goes pretty
good.
late,
The
so
other three, he
I'm
was
fine with the
bad.
Godwin pick.
That being
Mayfield,
said,
get out of here. That guy, no
then
way.
you have Hopkins to contend with as well, and you're not the one. So I think if you take the risk on Hollywood, it could pay off. I'm not out on Hollywood at his ADP. His ADP kind of has it baked in that.
Nash, I don't know if you're still in here, but we're doing a fantasy league if you want to join. We got 2 spots left.
Way below.
Highest scoring team of each week gets a free blue
Let's
duck.
say Kyler was.
And I ordered the trophy, so the trophy should be in somewhat soon.
Hypothetical game. Kyler never got injured. He's coming into this season. They did still trade Hopkins. What would Hollywood's outcome?
Yeah, I don't know if Nash is still in here,
As
but
the clear de facto one
we got 2
for
spots.
Kyler Murray.
Anybody can join.
ADP.
$10 league,
60.
75 for first, and then 25 for
In
second,
week
and then
4,
the
and
trophy.
you have,
Trophy's
let's
ordered
say,
and
the
paid
rest
for,
of the season,
and
the
then
wide receiver
if you
15.
get first place, highest score, and you get a free
And
blue
you
duck
have anything about
value.
wide receiver
Yeah.
30,
for
is
the
it
week.
worth taking a couple weeks of still a
Yeah, I don't like that either.
asset? It's not like you wouldn't be able to play Hollywood through those first couple weeks.
Let me put some more context in here for you, because fantasy football very often it's about how you start. That's how you then feel about players. So here's the Cardinals' opening schedule.
Good.
At Washington,
With a not Kyler.
yeah, I'm assuming I'm going to go all 4 of these games.
Yeah.
Let's say it's Colt McCoy. At Washington, it's not the worst.
So, if anybody has any questions, we only got 5 more duck spots left for the mega, and then we're running it.
Is beatable. But then it's Dallas and on the road against San Francisco. Those are not that's not a string of 4 games where you're super pumped to have your wide receiver 1 against those teams.
I'm nervous.
With a backup
I'm just
quarterback.
more nervous than I was earlier. We've said, Jason, you said you're staying away from Carolina wide receivers, okay, because you got a rookie quarterback. You've got worse than a rookie in Arizona. I mean, potentially. Bryce Young is going to be a better option, I think, than those 2 guys for the first 4 weeks. So it just makes me nervous. Like, it's a bumpier ride than we thought it would be. I
Yeah.
don't know if I want to go on the ride.
Yeah, I just don't know.
unless it's super.
I feel like this
cheap.
year, like, there's not the people with the first couple rounds aren't as exciting as they usually are.
Return, and that's okay.
Yeah, if he's a
Like, if
bench
you don't get like
piece,
Jefferson,
right.
Chase,
Looking, I pulled up
CMC,
ADP,
like, everything's not as exciting. Like Nick Chubb, great player. I just don't. I don't know why, but I don't think he's an exciting player. Like, I'm not excited to draft Nick Chubb,
So I won't be taking Hollywood over him.
but he's gonna be
And,
good.
you
Like, I know he's gonna be good.
behind him, and Deontay Johnson or Jordan Addison, Jahan Dotson. There's some higher upside guys that you don't have the opening worries about.
All right, at 17, we have the first wide receiver we're talking about today. That same team, same quarterback to start the season.
Super good quarterback.
Super good quarterback. 24 years old. Last year's this year wide receiver 14 in ADP. Devontae Smith, who helped Jason to a championship last year with his second half of the season ascension. Right now, I seem to still have a problem with wide receiver 2s based on my rankings. You guys have him at 13 and 15. I got him at 22 right now. I need to take a closer look at that, where that relates to T. Higgins after our conversations yesterday. But
Yeah, you would, Rummy.
you brought it up. If you want to find a reason why Devontae Smith might not be as effective, a healthy Dallas Goedert led to some lower outputs from him. Obviously, A.J. Brown is the alpha in the equation. You're going to have some pass catchers in the backfield that they didn't have, DeAndre Swift. But I think the moral of the story is Devontae Smith is probably really a score where he's ending up. I mean, 14 to 17. It seems hard to see him going.
As far as finishing,
Yeah, the fantasy finish outside of injury or some massive problem. I just don't like an injury to hurt or him. I think he's around his floor.
Well, the case against him is that a lot of his production came and it leveled up when Dallas Goedert was gone.
Right.
And so the question is that the new normal? Is he going to receive that level of targets with Dallas Goedert healthy and on the field? he's obviously going into year 3. He should just be getting better. But the positive narrative here is the Eagles cannot possibly play as few of snaps, without trailing. They were just always in the lead last year. I don't have the tweet in front of me, but I know Rich Rebar showed the first half points from Devonta Smith versus the second half points, and he was basically a top 10 wide receiver in the first half of games because he was just they're throwing the ball. If the Eagles don't have as easy a time this season, and that it probably they won't, just because everything changes year after year. I think Devonta Smith
Grady Wiener,
top 12 wide receiver this season.
Yeah, they have a turnover at offensive and defensive coordinator this year in Philadelphia. They're going to play a tougher schedule, so maybe they're in more of those games. But Devonta Smith is just an elite player, and he's going to have lots of opportunities. So, Mike, what's the peak finish for Devonta Smith? He was the wide receiver 5 over the last week 10 on. That's a smaller stretch.
Sure. Absolute ceiling, I'm in agreement with Jason that I think A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith could both be top 12 wide receivers. They could be the pair that ends up there over the Cincinnati Bengals, having the two in the top 12. It was an interesting season of, like I said, how things start affects how you think about players so strongly. And it could not have started worse for Devonta Smith last year because he had, let me check my notes.
Let me know if anybody has any
0
questions.
points in week 1 against the Detroit Lions in a high-scoring game. He had 4 targets, no catches. I think that was a product of they got A.J. Brown and they were trying to figure things out because it bounced back in a really big way. And then you can look at just the box score. His down games, they tend to make sense. It's like against Houston. Wide receivers.
Yeah, that was a problem.
Wide receivers didn't do anything against Houston because they did not need to do anything. And he's an excellent player. We're heading into year 3. I think that the Eagles have figured out how to use both of these wide receivers. So I don't have Smith ranked in my top 12 because I think that's the ceiling. I have more of an average type of finish. But I think he's a really solid addition, despite the fact that he is the 2 on his team.
16, a player opposite in proportions in every way, shape, and form when compared to Devonta Smith. Seahawks wide receiver, 25 years old, 3rd-round draft pick.
Jeez, 40K. What channel was that? Was that Backyard Breaks?
Rankings. He comes in at 15.
That's
for
ridiculous.
Us, 16 for us. But I am at 10. Jason,
We the Hobby.
Mike at 25.
Yeah, I'm probably a bit low, but
that's crazy.
I'm more of the bear case. Clearly.
Did he hit anything good?
The bear?
Or did he lose 40K?
DK Metcalf heard about the ranking, and
well, I would say be better.
He couldn't get through.
Oh man, say it to his face.
I will.
Say it to his face, Mike.
I want to say it through a plexiglass protection.
Walk right through that. He'll blow it down. DK Metcalf, I've risen a lot on him. Andy has
that's pretty cool.
Strong
but that's not 40K.
The positive touchdown regression that should come for him with the amount of red zone and end zone targets that he receives year after year after year, and the fact that he usually has double-digit touchdowns. And then there's also the case that the start of seasons really, really matters for players.
Sucks.
You just brought
that's
it up.
why I would never spend that much money on that.
For Devonta Smith.
40K, buy some cards you like. Flawless,
okay,
that's
I think you have to hit basically the best card you can hit to get your money back.
Probably one better.
There's definitely cards that are worth a stupid amount.
So, obviously that affects Tyler Lockett and JSN and Geno Smith. But DK Metcalf is someone who has that wide receiver 1 overall possibility.
Yeah, you could see going into week 3.
He's
got 4 touchdowns on the stat sheet already.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Entering year 5, prime territory.
Was it flawless T-Law's rookie year?
Come back to DK Metcalf. I want to be there when they do. It is. I went back and watched, and I give credit to whoever posted it, but somebody, it might have been Kyle, I don't remember. Somebody posted every single one of the red zone targets from last year, and so it was fun to watch through those and say like, okay, that one he should have caught. Like he had some drops in there, and then there were other.
Oh,
bad
geez,
passes
yeah,
or
that's
it
gonna be a
just
lot.
Didn't quite work out, and if like 3 or 4 of those had, we wouldn't be here.
That was Kyle that posted it. I saw it as well, and I just did the counting. I was like, which one of those? One of them he stepped on.
You added them up?
I mean, mentally, I just he just stepped on the line. He caught the ball, but he was just like, he's ruled out or whatever. Or this one, just a weird, unusual drop in the end zone. These were like he should have absolutely had 4 or 5 more touchdowns. And you're right, he wouldn't be drafted.
So, if anybody has any questions on anything,
those had come last year.
At Kyle_Gore.
Oh, okay.
On Twitter.
It's a good follow.
So will the ADP hold here, and are you willing to draft some wide receiver 15 where you have him ranked, Jason? Late third.
When I'm on the clock, the only consideration where I don't sometimes take the shot on DK is I think the value is better on Tyler Lockett, and I will never draft both of those guys. So it kind of removes for me that 7th round layup pick.
Let me know if you guys got questions. We only got 5 Megaduck spots left, and then we're going to run it.
If Jackson Smith and Jigba...
First place is the Nike 1-of-1 booklet.
What? I mean, and let's say Lockett or Metcalf are negatively impacted. I've always kind of gone to the default, and I guess ADP has too, that it would be Lockett that would be suffering from that break-in. Obviously, I'm saying if he's it. Like if JSN comes out and he's like the one target. He's the guy getting a ton of PPR opportunities. Have you entertained the Lockett downside, or is there none because the price is just so cheap?
Yeah, there's you talk. Okay, we're always looking at risk versus reward. You're not risking much,
right,
so it's like it's reward versus very little risk, and it's worth taking. I don't see a world where JSN overtakes either one of the other 2 wide receivers positionally. So he's going to play the slot, and maybe what happens
if you guys have
is
questions.
The Seahawks surprise us and run more 11 personnel, and they are in 3 wide receiver sets far more than they were last year, and JSN just happens to become that first read. And if that happens, it's going to negatively affect both of the players. It's not going to he's not going to overtake Lockett or overtake Metcalf and replace one of them.
Yeah, I mean Lockett's a big play guy. Metcalf is a touchdown guy, so I can see that. Number 15, it's T. Higgins. He's going, and I mentioned it yesterday. In fact, I'll shut up here in a second because I made a long, drawn-out case to him being overvalued. I'm at 21. The ADP is the top of the third at wide receiver 12. I think it's too expensive. If you want to hear everything I said as to why, you can listen to Ice and Fire episode from yesterday. I think everything has to go right for him to hit this ADP, and the odds of that are very low. You guys gave rebuttals. I mean, you talked about the fact that a couple of his games he was injured, didn't play a lot of snaps, and you projected the other games. That's tough because you don't know if those 2 games that he came out in.
Let me know if anybody has any questions. Only got 5 Megaduck spots left, and we're running it. Megaduck is the top row, and then the 1-on-1 booklet for first.
Yeah, he has a lot of games where he was. So it's hard to know what that outcome would have been. But, he's going very, very high. He's going at wide receiver 12. He's going ahead of the guys we've talked to. He's going ahead of Devontae Smith.
Yeah, when I like Devontae Smith better, but whenever you're looking at these wide receiver 2s for their teams that are very, very talented, that are playing with good quarterbacks on good offenses, you basically are saying, I'm betting on a young, talented player with a great quarterback who's got a great offense. And that's usually a wise bet to make. So are you drafting him near his ceiling? Potentially, yes. Now, not at all if he has the baked-in upside of, should something happen to Jamar Chase, sure, he could go nuclear. He would be the number 1 read for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's going to throw 4,535. So he does have a ceiling case, as injury protection insurance for Jamar Chase, who has missed games already. I mean, we brought up last year, some of Higgins' big games were when Jamar Chase missed. Yeah, that could still happen again. And when they were both on the field, he was actually pretty consistent there too. So I don't have a problem just betting on Joe Burrow and the talent of T. Higgins.
Clearly, no one has that problem based on where he's being drafted.
Right. Yeah, I'm with Jason that it's a bet on the player, which I think T. Higgins on pretty much most other teams would be the number one wide receiver. They just happen to have Jamar Chase, who is top 3 wide receiver in the NFL already. And it's a bet on the Cincinnati Bengals continuing to do what they did last year, which was they let Joe Burrow go and cook and actually be the team. It was no longer the scared Zach Taylor, we're going to run, Joe Burrow bail us out type of an offense. So he is an extremely difficult player because I want him on my teams.
Yeah, he's very safe. This is nothing about T. Higgins being bad. I just wish he was the wide receiver 18 and ADP. That's it.
Yes.
At 18, I'd be cool with that. I'm a little nervous about the price. Let's talk about a player now that has been rarely popular.
Let me know if you guys have questions.
On certain players, but this guy's ranked ahead.
Working on something for work.
So far, and it's number 14. Amari.
This is taking forever.
Still hanging with Mr. Cooper here. I've got
I just
him at
need
13.
things to
Jason
not be as
17,
busy. The
Mike
last
at
2 days have
17.
been crazy busy.
This is another
Thank you.
example.
I like yours too.
406. Wide receiver 18 off the board. A round and a half later than T. Higgins. If Deshaun Watson is back to the form where he finished at number 5, 3-4 years in a row.
Sure. It's a big if.
It's a little if. I think it's a little if.
Really?
I do. I actually think it's a very little if.
Just watching him play last year, I don't know if I shared it with the company Slack, but Warren Sharp did a tweet thread of all of Deshaun Watson's longest throws, like air yard throws. Oh, man. The touch and the decision making was not.
It was like
close.
he hadn't played football in a while.
Right.
To me, it's a lower if because this is an established, extremely talented individual. His decline did come with age. He played a couple of really tough matchups, and he hadn't played in a year and a half. He's got a whole offseason, and I have more confidence in him. I know nobody wants him to succeed. I understand. But if he does, Amari Cooper may be undervalued at the wide receiver, 18 in ADPs.
That's fair.
In ADP, we all have him higher than that because he is the go-to receiver for this roster, and he still is. I like Elijah Moore. I think he'll be involved. I like David Njoku. He'll be involved. It's Amari Cooper's wide receiver.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when you look at last year, it's hard to separate that. You know, he was so good with Jacoby Brissett, and he was so bad with Deshaun Watson. And the if question about whether Watson gets it together or not, to me, I think that there is some. It's not just rust, and it's not just time not playing football. It's also the public pressure that he has gone through. The human element of, like when Tiger Woods had his fall from grace, it affected his play for a long time. And I know there were injuries there as well. But it's like he's a human being, and the whole world wants him to fail. And so I think it affects performance on the field. Now, maybe that's a silly way to look at it, but that's kind of how I'm making the bet. That's why I see it as a big if. And Amari Cooper has always been a player who is really good, but it always comes inconsistently. He'll always have half the season that's good and half the season that's bad. We're going into his 9th season. Like, we know what Amari Cooper is. He's a really solid NFL wide receiver who, for fantasy purposes, will finish the year strongly and be inconsistent on the pass.
Let me know if anybody has any questions. Anything works. We're only down to 5 Mega Duck spots left.
Players
we're going to run the duck race.
In the 4th round.
Prizes our top row, and then booklet 1 of 1 is first place.
If I'm going to bet,
let me know if you guys got questions. Anything works.
I'd rather bet on Joe Burrow and Herbert than on Baltimore.
Yeah, that's one of our biggest disagreements on the show this year is how we see that playing out for the Cleveland Browns. I think that they are going to be a really good team. You guys are not bullish on Deshaun Watson's output. They're going to start the season at home against Cincinnati, then play the Steelers, the Titans, and the Ravens. Their 3 out of the 4 games are going to be at home to start the season.
That's a tough
And
that's a tough 4-pack.
and we'll get to see it. We'll get to see it on display. And Marty Cooper had a really good start to it last year. Last year,
Yes.
he was one of the best picks in the draft through the first 12 weeks, and then it obviously fell off. Chris Olave comes in at 13. Wide receiver 13 off the board. ADP of 306. Mike's the highest at 13. I'm at 15. Jason at 18. He's 23 years old. Get ready for year 2 of this budding superstar. I wish the draft price was a little lower.
Agreed.
I do wish that other people were somehow blind to his talent.
But this is where we are with fantasy football. The crowd is getting better at the game, and the people are catching on of, I should be targeting second-year wide receivers who had great rookie seasons, because more often than not, those are the players that take the jetpack into superstardom. I love Chris Olave. Like, he wins everywhere on the field. The upgrade from Andy Dalton to Derek Carr, especially when it comes to deep passes, I think is a substantial upgrade. I don't want to overvalue what Derek Carr does versus Andy Dalton, but it's enough. It is absolutely enough for me to take Chris Olave at his ADP. I am in agreement, Andy, that I wish it wasn't there, because the risk is you're taking Chris Olave at, like, there's a small margin for error should something go awry. Like, if Chris Olave is the wide receiver 15 at the end of the year and you spent a 3rd round pick on him, it feels like you didn't get a return on your draft pick. So that's the concern. But I think that this guy who outproduced Garrett Wilson, who is going,
I don't know how I feel about Olave.
Ahead of
I haven't really drafted him any. I've never drafted him.
Older quarterback. We're not 100% sure that he's got it.
I think he's good. I just
But
don't know if I'd rather the other people that are around him.
In my opinion, will outproduce his ADP, and by next year he's going to be looked at as one of those top tier superstars.
I saw, I think it was local Saints radio talking about their schedule this year.
Oh,
and then,
yes.
And then asking to name the top quarterbacks in the NFL.
Oh, they don't play any of them.
Yeah, I mean they play in order: Tannehill, Bryce Young, Jordan.
Oh, you're a big Olave
Baker
guy?
Mayfield, Mac Jones, C.J. Stroud, presumably. Then you face Lawrence, finally. Pretty good quarterback. Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins. Then you face the Falcons twice with Desmond Ridder, Bryce Young again, Jared Goff. I mean, they don't play any of the. Their schedule's nice.
Yeah, but what you just said was pro Kendre Miller, and the running game and winning ball games.
Well, pro defense too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like they may not.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Like, I'm not going to take away that.
Need to,
But
but looking at the strength of schedule, this is last
I
year.
didn't watch too much of him, so I think that probably has something to do with
What
it.
happened last year? Tennessee
Yeah,
was.
the building next door. If
I
you
can't
hear
wait
coming
for
through the
football.
microphone, they're apparently bulldozing the neighborhood. We're going to be the last one.
The best matchup for wide receivers was the Tennessee Titans. That's who they opened against. The 4th best was the Carolina Panthers. Week 4, 7th best. Week 5, 10th. Like, they have by far on paper the best strength.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna be good. Like, there's no way he's not.
It's not just like, they have some tough ones at the beginning, then they get into it. No, it's
exciting.
We start hot, we close.
It's not a
hot.
huge. I'm not a huge Olave guy.
At 12,
Marvin Harris
speaking of
Jr.
hot, this was Jason's fire player on yesterday's episode.
Huh.
Keenan Allen of the
All
Chargers.
right, good to know.
31 years old.
I gotta watch more college football this year and know the people in the draft better. Since I'm doing a dynasty league, I actually got to know that now.
I made my case for why I love him yesterday, and my rankings stand where they do. But you don't have a much safer option out there. Every player can get injured.
Right.
I'm not worried about that's the argument against it, right? If he's out there
older
playing,
players too, the higher propensity for that to happen. We saw Thielen break down that way.
if he's out there playing the role that he has played, his entire career, and he's out there for 17 games, you're not going to be disappointed with him, especially drafting him as a wide receiver too, where you're not paying wide receiver 1 prices in the draft.
Are you happy in full PPR to have him as your wide receiver 1? Like if the draft goes
yeah,
that way, you want to spend on a onesie position.
If I was in full PPR, I would imagine in that situation, that means I've got 2 great running backs and a quarterback already. I grabbed one of the top 3. Yeah, over Andrews.
I don't remember if I got the email immediately, but I got an invite.
Yeah, we're excited about the offense.
It's like a WebEx.
About our discussions on Keenan Allen, they were verbose yesterday. We got a chance to get into them. At 11, last wide receiver on today's countdown before Breast Ball Breakdown is Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins, 24 years old. I think I brought it up earlier this offseason. It is a weird thing to have a player that outpaced Tyreek Hill in average.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember how long it took. That was like
Tyreek Hill as you get, and they play on the same.
It was like 7 months ago or 8 months ago.
Wide receiver 7 last year.
Like probably exactly 8 months.
Incredible. Managed to do it with Tua in and out of the lineup. I'm so excited about both Waddle and Tyreek Hill in particular. Like someone on Twitter was like, "Oh, can I take Tyreek at number 3?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course you can." Yep. Tyreek Hill's going to be great, and I think Jalen Waddle will be as well. So is 11 the right spot for him? I got him at 9, Jason 11, Mike 12. We all are in that range. Do you have any nervousness around this guy?
My nervousness comes because of Tyreek Hill. When a player is a true superstar wide receiver, you're going to have games where the other people on the field just disappear, and that happened multiple times to Jalen Waddle. Like when it cratered, it was real bad. Now I know I'm not cross-referencing these with non-Tua games, but wide receiver 60, 75, 98, 68. So that's the struggle with Jalen Waddle having to deal with Tyreek Hill on the other side of the field. It makes things easier a lot of the time, but sometimes it's so easy because you just don't have to do anything to help the team, and Tyreek Hill handles it.
Much better defense in Miami this year.
Once they get,
Ramsey, like the fact that Jalen Ramsey's going to miss time, that's a pretty big deal.
He should only miss a handful of weeks. I don't think he's gonna. I think he'll be here for the majority of the season, which will be very helpful.
That's changed now. What's the latest on that?
The last thing I saw was that it was like a.
He did a full repair.
Yeah, it was going to be a couple months, and then he said,
"Was it the
he
meniscus?
promises
full meniscus
to beat the timeline by a month."
That's who we want to listen to.
No, yeah, for sure.
Hearing meniscus freaks me out because this is like, hey, Irv Smith, remember when he had his meniscus repaired and then he didn't play?
He missed the whole year. Yeah. I guess the last thing I had seen was second half of the year. But regardless, like Bradley Chubb gets to be there from day one, dominant force in the D-line. They've made other improvements. So just bringing it up is one of those things where they had to get in 6 touchdown shootouts last year with Baltimore to win ball games. I wondered if that defensive prowess might impact their upside.
Yeah, Waddle's great. He's obviously being drafted very high. He finished last year as the wide receiver 7 in half PPR. He has electric speed. He can win you a week because he can take an 80-yard touchdown. And it's a worthy pick for drafting a very, very talented player. But I want to make the anti-Waddle case here.
Okay.
Because as we've gone through this show, obviously, I think a lot of people group the Waddle, Higgins.
Let me know if you guys have any questions.
Group together.
Yeah, appropriately.
Yeah, they're young wide receiver 2s for their team with superstars on the other side. And I'm sitting here looking at Waddle and saying, he can win me weeks for sure. But he's probably going to be less consistent than Devontae Smith. More boom bust.
Yeah.
He has a worse quarterback. Even if Tua is good, and the best part of Tua last year is what we see for the entirety of this season, I don't think he's Jalen Hurts. I don't think he's Joe Burrow. So for a player right now that is in a
similar
situation as those other 2 guys, but the situation seems a little worse, a little inconsistent. I'm questioning my own ranking here of saying, would I really want Waddle more than Devontae Smith?
I think it's a good question to ask, and it might come down to the type of team you build to the point where you're taking Jalen Waddle.
Because at that point, you've drafted one player. You know what I mean? He's in the second round.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the team you plan to, because you have to accept.
Let me know if anybody has any questions on anything. We only got 5 duck spots left. The duck race is for the top row, and then the booklet 1 of 1 is first place. Every pull from the duck box is an RPA, and then you get anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks on the back. We only got 5 spots left. $20 a pull, and then every duck purchase you make, you get 5 additional bonus NFL pulls. And we are also doing the share stream bonus today. So you could get a mega duck and 10 pulls if you share the stream. But yeah, we only got 5 spots left, and then we're running it. And the booklet 1 of 1, Nike 1 of 1 is first place.
Best Ball Breakdown, presented by Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah, Brooks makes a good point. Maybe if you do spend that second round pick on Jalen Waddle, maybe you're coming back to you.
Sure. There you go.
Steady that ship.
Yeah.
All right, best ball breakdown. Every week we're looking at some tips, tricks, insights, thoughts regarding best ball and Underdog Fantasy. Sat down last night in my cozy chair. Jumped in a 30-second per pick.
Oh, okay.
Best ball mania draft last evening. Had a great time.
How'd you do? Did you win it? You gonna win the
I'm
best ball mania?
going to be winning it. Yes.
Dude, that's so much money.
It is a lot of money.
I wish I was winning.
The 30-second per pick.
That's a bummer to know.
No,
already
it's
you won.
it's my team because I have DJ Chark on it. I just want you to know, like the 30-second per pick, great fun. Bad father during that time.
Yeah.
All right, today's topic, Kyle threw some thoughts in here for us when looking
All
at
right, let me change this. I feel like it's an
essentially
old one.
remembering to look at opportunities
end of it.
as they relate to best ball. So he gave an example of like Debo Samuel, right?
Let's see here. What do we want to watch? You want to watch Aliens? What's this?
Welcome to Fantasy Football. Today, position previews begin, and we're going to start, of course, with the quarterbacks. Maybe a different
If anybody has any
landscape
questions.
than what we're used to as we do the position previews and the quarterback previews. And every year it's that wait on quarterback, right? Well, we'll see about that. ADP suggests something different right now. How about this, guys? In 6-point per passing touchdown leagues last season, only 4 quarterbacks averaged 23 fantasy points per game. The previous 2 seasons, 11 and 9. About 21 points per game. Last year, there were 8 quarterbacks who averaged that. In the previous 2 seasons, 15 and 12. So, I am curious, is this going to be the first year in a long time where we say, don't wait on quarterback, go get your guy early? And good morning to you, everybody. FFT open spots will be available tonight.
What's up, J-Mac?
Details on that. It's an exciting time of year, and I love the position previews. Arguably our most important episodes, but it is August 3rd right now. So make sure you keep listening, and we'll update these as the preseason and training camp progresses. Jamie, I'm going to start with you. All 3 guys are here today, Jamie, Dave, and Heath. Jamie, is this a different year?
It's going pretty good. Freaking work has been. Yesterday I had so many meetings I couldn't even stream. And today I'm just freaking swamped.
I will probably miss out.
But at least I'm not in a meeting so I can stream. But freaking, I'm ready for this week to be over. We are going to go see Barbie tonight. So I'm a little excited for that. Get some movie theater popcorn and slushy. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I like the one by us has self-serve, so you buy popcorn and a drink, and they just give you a cup and the popcorn, and then you can just fill up with whatever you want, as much as you want. It's sick. So I'm excited for that.
Early managers who draft quarterbacks with the first 3 guys.
Haircut
Oh,
Heath is
I've heard
here.
Barbie's pretty
Haircut
good,
Heath,
so
looking good.
I'm just disappointed it's not at.
Question to you: are you going to be more aggressive?
No, I'm going to the IMAX and Hooks It.
This year to last year, it definitely seems like.
I forgot. I forgot you were around here. When you said Chunkies, I'm like, what? I'm like, how do you know what Chunkies is? It's been a long day. But yeah, no, the IMAX is sweet. The one in Hooks It, awesome. I wish Barbie was in IMAX. I haven't gone to the IMAX movie in a while. Right now it's Oppenheimer.
For 2 months and you're still calling me that? That's okay. Needs a haircut, Heath, is what it can be in 2 months. I do think like what we've seen so far.
It was crazy though. The movies
Industry
for the four of us to go to the movie is $67 for the 4 tickets. It's freaking insane.
We do a mock draft and nobody would take a quarterback until round.
So let me know if anybody has any questions on duck race or anything.
And there were 3 quarterbacks going in the first 2 rounds, and I'm like, well, what is the point of this? I do think those numbers you cited last year, I expect it to bounce back a little bit. I think I have 16 quarterbacks projected for 21 fantasy points per
Yeah,
game.
I feel like I had issues with it earlier.
The mark, but the difference is how many guys are there do you think that could score 28, 29, 30 fantasy points per game? We've seen Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen do that repeatedly. We've seen Lamar Jackson do it once. We saw Justin Fields show us a stretch of a month and a half that looked like he could do that. So I'm going to be aggressive with targeting Mahomes, Allen, and Hurts at that 2-3 turn. The Burrow injury might be the thing that kind of changes that second tier and makes them more appealing to me, because what we saw in the week or 2 before that was that Burrow had snuck up into round 3. And I didn't like that very much. But we did our pick-by-pick series. I think those are coming out today and tomorrow. And I thought it was interesting because I don't think Burrow went until maybe round 5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's been so slow.
Those guys are available at the 4 or 5 turn. And I agree with Jamie. I'm going to target Fields, Lamar.
Yeah, it's been a very slow week, I feel like. But I think it's just the summer. Obviously, when football comes back, it's going to be awesome again. I mean, the one thing about it being slower is, like, after the stream, it only takes me, like, 30 minutes to package everything. Where before, like, during, like, last year or earlier this year when football was on and stuff, when it was busy, I was spending, like, an hour and a half every night packaging stuff, which it's like a good thing and a bad thing. But
if I think that I can get Jackson, Fields, or Burrow at the next turn when I'm picking at the 4 or 5 turn, then I'm not going to take Mahomes, Allen, and Hurts. But if they're all,
I'm hoping it picks up soon again.
Take one of those early quarterbacks.
Okay, great strategy. Heath definitely.
I think though, just based on average job position, though, we're not seeing it, right, Adam? Because that's what you.
We are not.
We never do.
We are not
nice.
seeing those guys make it to the
there you go, man.
Of round the 4 or 5.
Yeah, I feel like Fridays are usually. I feel like Thursday usually is a pretty good day.
Allen 20, Hurts
but
21,
Friday definitely is a good day.
ADP. So they're not quite getting there. That doesn't mean they're not ever getting there.
Right. But
but in every draft I do, they're probably one of them's going to be there. Probably.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, my Friday's gonna be pretty busy tomorrow too.
Yeah.
We have a guy out this week, so I'm basically working 2 jobs. Today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday.
I think it's reasonable.
Sucks.
There's a reasonable chance that at the 2-3 turn or around the 2-3 turn, 1 or 83 quarterbacks will be there. Talking more 6-point pass touchdown. I don't know if it really matters. For your guys, are you going to be more aggressive this year?
There you go. Yeah, you can do that. I think there's something where you can pause the stream or something. I haven't really seen much into that, but that way people don't have to pay shipping twice.
Don't wait on purpose. Go for fair value. And definitely take a quarterback when you don't like anybody that's left at any other position. That might also be your guide. Where you look at the running backs and you want to keep the wide receivers.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that I feel like Whatnot does, and I don't know all of it. I just started. I'm like streaming now, like on YouTube and Twitch right now, I guess too. But I don't monitor it, so it's like somebody messaged me, I probably didn't see it.
Follow the same philosophy. Don't reach for those guys. I think you're giving up good value at other.
So I did try that out, but I don't know how well it works.
I think everybody's strategy is for one quarterback to take one of them with a top 15. Don't do that. Take another position because that group of Burrow, Fields, Jackson, I throw Herbert in there, Lawrence.
Yeah, I like it on here. I don't mind it.
It's a real good group to pick from. But you might want to look at the quarterback rankings before you draft. Because you might be good with Herbert, you might be good with Lawrence. Are you good with Tua? Are you good with Dak or Deshaun?
It's definitely better than eBay.
Richardson? The list goes on and on. Figure out where your line in the sand is with quarterbacks. The fewer names that you've got on your line in the sand,
the sooner you should prioritize taking a quarterback in your draft.
Well, isn't it also like, are we just basing it on what happened last year?
So, if anybody has any questions, we got 5 Mega Duck spots left.
You know what?
Let's get this sold out today so we can run it. I want to send the booklet home with somebody.
And 2021 were the exceptions than the rules. Last year was a bad year for passing, but compared to 2020 and 2021, you really can't find a lot of seasons like that. And those seasons maybe are more the outliers than last year. So last year, I feel like last year was kind of in between, let's say, 2018 and 2019, and then 2020 and 2021. If that makes sense. I threw a lot of numbers out there, but I don't necessarily want to just compare every year to 2020 and 2021.
Let me know if you guys have any questions on anything.
Years for quarterbacks. So
I want to get this sold
maybe
out.
It wasn't quite as bad.
The 1-of-1 booklet deserves to go home with somebody today.
Last year was bad in terms of just a lot of reliable
And
quarterbacks.
I can't wait till it's gone too. It's like hard to prop up on this thing. It doesn't fit in the slots. Like the slabs and cards fit in the slots that are on the stand, but the booklet does not.
Pretty good and pretty predictable for the previous 2 seasons at least. The guys who were drafted top 12, most of them finished top 12. Last year it was different. It was a little bit more random.
It's also changing of the guard too, right?
Yeah,
A little bit of that, right?
Brady on the way out, Roethlisberger on the way out,
Rodgers
on the way out.
Yeah, and if you think back to last year, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, I don't even think they were top 15 picks in ADP, and they obviously they emerged.
Let me know if you guys got any questions on anything.
Gino came out of nowhere. Daniel Jones had some good weeks. The other thing too is that you're not about to see the NFL turn into a running league. This is still a league where people want to throw. There are so many great quarterbacks. Teams are going to use them. I would imagine the numbers will be better for the majority of quarterbacks this year.
I also think last year that we saw the value of obviously we know it. We're not idiots. People call it the cheat code, the Konami code, whatever. The rushing quarterbacks, we know that. But last year was a terrible year for the pass only guys. It was almost exaggerated.
And this is partially like a response to what NFL defenses have done. This whole too high shell coverage to beat Mahomes, to beat Josh Allen, to beat Joe Burrow, like they are trying to take away. And Dave said it's not going to turn into a running league. It's not. But we saw 4 or 5 teams just go, okay, we'll play 2 or 3 tight ends all the time, and we'll run it down your throat. It didn't work out particularly well for them. We might see, if the defenses don't adjust to that, we might see 2 or 3 more teams do that this year and just go more run heavy, because defenses are just begging you, please run against us. And if you don't have a great quarterback, that's what you should do probably right now.
Well, it's also, the slot receiver becoming much more prominent. Bill's move, I think, to draft Kincaid.
Let me know if you guys got any questions. We only got 5 Megaduck spots left, and we're going to run it after that.
A small snippet, but
Megaduck is for the top row of cards, and then the booklet 1-of-1 is first place.
The quarterback series, about there was one game where he said, they're it's the first time he saw a team in however many games he said, playing up on him, and daring him to throw deep. I think it was when he hurt his ankle, so probably at the end of the season. And he's like, call the deep zone, call the deep zone.
Like a bell.
To Nagy and the enemy, call it. He was like, they're giving it to us. I can make the throw. So I think when they're seeing that, they're going to take advantage of it. But I think your point, Keith, is not necessarily that we're going to see teams run the ball more. I think we're just going to see a lot.
So if you guys have any questions,
and they'll employ different strategies, and that's what we're seeing, which is why you're probably seeing some spikes in certain quarterbacks' completion percentage because they're not throwing down the field.
Nope, they're keeping it short and they're spreading it around, and it's hard to find a lot of receivers that are going to have huge target volume. The studs are going to have it. Of course they are. But when a team doesn't have that stud, they're going to spread it around. It's almost like they're taking what they did at running back and applying it to all their pass catchers. It makes it harder for defenses to deal with, and it makes it harder for fantasy managers to deal with too.
Let's get back into quarterback a little bit. Just drafting strategy. First of all, when should
we got 5 Megaduck spots left. Let me know if you guys have any questions how anything works. Also, only got 7 mystery packs left, and 3 of those 7 have slabs in them. So good value there too. Good chance of hitting the slab.
And then the other 2 shortly thereafter.
All PSA slabs too.
Jamie, how about you?
I
I mean, again, I'm probably not going to draft those guys there, but that's where they should go at the 2-3.
Yeah, should you take Ramondre Stevenson ahead of any of those three quarterbacks?
I did that, and I will probably continue to do that. And the pick by pick series, as he referenced, that's exactly what happened. I took Ramondre Stevenson and Devontae Smith and both Josh Allen. Yes, they're both available.
I'm just gonna.
No, I'm sorry, they were not. Hurts was the only one available. So just.
I don't know if you guys have any questions. You want to see anything?
Jackson
Everything in the Mega Duck box is an RPA, and you get anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks.
That's interesting. The fact that you
Blue is basically the same thing, but it's all jersey cards. You can get anywhere from 1 to 3
I just
ducks.
feel like in general.
And then with every duck purchase, you get 5 pulls from the regular NFL box. So you can hit either the Jordan Love or the Cam Akers.
Taking the profile of a guy like Ramondre Stevenson over a guy like Jalen Hurts is something that gets fantasy managers in trouble. But you're playing it because you really like that next tier of quarterbacks.
It's not that I love it, So it's
Also got a ton of stuff in the buy it now I've added. So if you have any questions or want to see any of that, let me know. I have it all. I have most of them. I've tried to do it on every one. Have the team at the end. So if you just search your team, it comes up with all the stuff that I have for them.
Fields has a chance for a big season. So those 4 guys in particular, I'm buying into that group. And for me, that's not usually a place that I live in drafting quarterbacks. I'll usually wait until in this particular year, just to put some context to it, I would usually wait for Dak, Watson, Cousins, Geno, that group, and just take my chance.
I guess let me sum it up by this. We got the top 3, right? And then we got Burrow, Jackson, Fields, Herbert. That's 7. Some people have Lawrence 8. Maybe he's in his own tier. Some people, I think NFC ADP has Lawrence going ahead of Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Again, I'm talking. Actually, no, they're back to back. They're the same.
Well, there was a 2-week stretch from the middle of July to the end of July. So I just did this for the 50th version of the breakout. That Fields was behind one.
Yeah, pretty close though, right? So
yes, yeah.
That's 8. So I guess the question to me is, my question to you: how important is it to have a top?
Let me know if you guys have any questions.
7 or 8 quarterback.
Let's get this Mega Duck sold out.
About Trevor Lawrence, Dave, how important is it for you to have a top 7 or 8 quarterback?
I like to have it. I would prefer to have it. The only way that I don't want to have it is if I find value with all of my first 5 picks in the draft. That's really it. I'm going to look for quarterback earlier than I normally do because I'm looking for that fair value, and I want a quarterback that I can lock in and hope that they've got a floor of 23 fantasy points per game and a ceiling of 25 for that second group and 30 for that first group.
Okay, Heath, same question to you. How important is it to have a top 7 or 8 quarterback?
I think I'm gonna do that thing that you've hated for 8 years now, but man, it really, like, if I'm drafting with Dave and Jamie, then it's pretty important to me. If I'm drafting with my friends in my home league, then I've already given up on the idea.
Because they're taking quarterbacks earlier, right?
Right. If I'm looking at NFC ADP and like Joe Burrow's going 30th and Lamar Jackson.
Let me know if you guys have any questions. We got the Mega Duck going today. Only 5 spots left of that, and the Blue Duck, which has 14 spots. We're also doing a share stream. So if you share the stream, you get 5 pulls with your purchase. 5 additional pulls.
Like, I think that's the great thing about it is I would really like to have one, but there are 2 guys specifically that you can target that are generally available round 9 or later that could give you that, and there are a half dozen guys who give you a really great floor. So if you miss out on it, it's still okay in a home league situation where they're all going much earlier than you're comfortable.
So in other words, you're not reaching.
I'm not. Well, I'm reaching more than I ever have probably,
but not in those home league drafts.
I'm not going to take a quarterback in first round. I'm probably not going to take one in the second.
That's perfect.
I'm going to request that we maybe just focus on average draft position instead of the home league thing, which is. I know there are some home leagues that are crazy, but come on, man.
I think we need to.
Home leagues are more reflective of what average draft position is than what our drafts are.
I agree. I don't know what a home league is. I'm just going to go with the ADP right now. I don't know what home league ADP is.
Well, I think it's more the non-analyst draft. That's probably the best.
Right, but I don't know how to say this is what happens in home leagues.
I think we have to make a
Yeah,
distinction, though, Adam.
Yeah, I agree, John.
We have to make some sort of we have to accommodate that somehow, because people are also going to say, well, in my home league, they get drafted like you guys draft them. So people have to know if it's a league where 5 or 6 quarterbacks are going in the first round, then you just have to give up on that idea.
Let me know if you guys got questions.
All right, let's take a quick break here. Actually, before we do that, Fantasy Football Today Open. That will be on our eBay page, tinyurl.com/FFT donate. tinyurl.com/FFT donate. You can check. First of all, just be going there throughout the month to find out what's available to bid on, and all of it benefits St. Jude. But the Fantasy Football Today Open is our 8-league tournament where each of us and 4 others from CBS, Chris, Dan, Sia, and Jacob, we're all going to be commissioners with 11 of you, and you've got 15 weeks to win the first league. If you win that, you advance. 8 people advance. We cut it down to 4 in week 16. We cut it down to a champion in week 17. And again, we're going to raise a ton of money for charity. So that's going to be posted tonight. I'm thinking 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm trying to get a confirmation. I don't have it. Check at 5 p.m. Eastern. Check at 6 p.m. Eastern. Check at 7 p.m. Eastern. All 88 spots are going to be posted at the same time. So you'll have your opportunities. Hopefully they won't sell out too quickly. $250 for an entry. tinyurl.com/FFT donate. And one more thing real quick here. Kind of a fun project. We're looking for any unique or long-standing fantasy football leagues in the New York City area. So if you live around here, if you live in the New York City area and you've been playing fantasy with the same group for a while, and you got something really
Let me know if you guys have any questions. We also got 2 spots left in our fantasy league. It's $10 per the spot. Trophy is bought. I bought the trophy for the league, and then the highest scoring person for each week, it's a free Blue Duck. So a fun thing to do. And so it's $10. So and the money goes back to whoever wins. So first place gets 75, second place gets 25. If you guys have any questions on anything, just let me know. I have a bunch of stuff in the notes too.
News, and then more quarterback talk, sleepers, breakouts, fuss. We'll go through ADP. We'll tell you who we like, who we don't like. Expected to miss a few weeks, according to Adam Schefter. So if that was the case, if you were only missing, let's just go real quick on this, guys. If you were only missing a few weeks, would you move Cooper Kupp down at all, Heath?
I think I had him ahead of Kelsey, and I moved him behind Kelsey. And I don't plan on moving him in the next 2 weeks. So if we get to week 3, then I'm going to start getting older right now.
All right. John Harbaugh says he doesn't know when J.K. Dobbins will be back. He's on the pup list. There's also a contract issue. Jonathan Taylor seems unlikely to be placed on the non-football injury list, according to Stephen Holder of ESPN. A lot of James Cook buzz right now. That's a guy who we talked about a few days ago as a riser.
Playing Josh Allen.
Yeah, he said he's going to be playing a lot. Kind of
teammate praise another teammate.
Yeah, but it's been
he went a little above and beyond.
Calvin Ridley's toe injury was caused by his cleats, so no big deal there. Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham are solidifying themselves as the top 2 wide receivers in Baltimore, according to ESPN's Jamison Hensley. Not a huge surprise because Rashawn Bateman is on the pup list. He's still out with a foot injury. Mike DeFabo of The Athletic thinks the Steelers will be run heavy this year. That's something, Heath, that you actually were wondering about yesterday. I don't know if this does anything for your projections.
It's one piece of information, yeah.
It also, if you read the article in The Athletic, I think the quotes from Mike Tomlin.
Appreciate the share, Max. Just gonna make a purchase, and you can have you get 5 polls with your purchase.
And Ron Rivera.
Let me know if you have any questions on anything works.
So Sam Howell does have some appeal because of his rushing ability, but he does have to deal with Jacoby Brissett. I also saw something about Brian Robinson, by the way, being more involved in the passing game and doing a good job in that area. If anybody cares about that. Okay, quarterback questions. Jamie, is there any strategy stuff that we haven't really talked about? I mean, I think you've made it pretty clear. You like that second tier. We all think it's nice to have a top 7 or 8 quarterback, but Heath's already said if you don't reach, find a wait for Tua. And I think you said Cousins. Jamie, actually, why don't you talk about the waiting? If you do end up missing out on the top 8, the tier right now is Deshaun Watson is in his own tier at QB9 based on ADP. And then you've got a lot of other guys after that have appeal. So if you missed out on the top 8, Jamie, what should you do?
I think first off, you need to know your league. You know, if you've been playing in a long-standing league, that is there going to be a lot of managers drafting 2 quarterbacks? Because if that's the case, then I think if you get to that point, you probably want to take 2, just to take 2 shots at it, and make sure you have yourself the chance at, or increase the chance at getting a potential top 10 guy. So, you know, if you take somebody like, I mean, we've said this time and time again, you know, the riskier quarterbacks in this range of Tua and Richardson, you want to make sure you have a capable backup. Then if you take somebody that doesn't necessarily have the upside that, you know, based on where they're being selected, so Watson, Dak, Cousins, you know, I think those are probably the next 3. You might want to take a second guy as well, and that second group tends to be Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson. You know, Cousins probably.
Let me know if you guys got questions.
So you know, you want to make sure you probably have 2 of those guys. So I think the longer that you wait, you're probably more inclined to take 2 guys, just because double up the chance that one of them can potentially be in a great spot. And if you are taking one of these second guys, don't take a guy that has just a safe floor. I think you want to take a shot at somebody that has a ceiling that can get you to maybe a top 5 play, not necessarily, you know, the Geno Smith top 5 like we saw last year, where he just crept in there based on.
Max, let me know what you want to pull from. If you have any questions on anything works, let me know too.
That next type of great player, and I think you look at somebody that can run, that will hopefully help you.
All right, let me know any number between 1 and 14 for your duck, and then you give me 10 numbers for your pull box pulls.
You guys all have Richardson in your top 10, right around 9 or 10. So I know my next question was going to be for all of you, and Dave, you can go first.
All right.
Is who in that
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
So I'll
13.
say other than Tua Tagovailoa, who you guys all have in your top.
We have a Blake Bortles jersey card and a 1 duck. And then, all right, 13 through 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
First of all, I'm not thrilled drafting from this group. It's part of the reason why I prefer to get one of those top 8.
James Bradbury. Got a Joey Harrington, number to 1250. Michael Thomas. McCole Hardman. Le'Veon Bell. Mike Singletary. Tony Gonzalez. Rashad Shaheed, rookie. Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers. And then a Mac Hollins rated rookie blue. All right, let's see if you get a slab.
I think that might be where the list
No slab, but appreciate the purchase, man. You are in for the blue duck.
You could call it 15 or so quarterbacks.
You ever see Good Place? Yeah, the show?
Okay. Heath, how about you?
Is that what you're talking about, the Good Place?
It depends on if we're talking about what's
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate the purchase. If you have any questions how anything works, always just feel free to throw them in the chat or shoot me a DM.
But like based on ADP, I would say it's.
Oh, yeah, the one guy. Yeah, he was a huge Jaguars fan.
22 based on ADP.
Oh, I forget what his name was, but yeah, he was like one of my favorite characters.
Geno or Daniel Jones. It's 2 of those guys. So it's one of, and generally I have Tua. Tua is an 8th round pick right now. I usually get him a little bit later than that, but like Tua, Richardson, Murray plus Cousins.
That was a good show.
Daniel Jones.
You didn't say Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. Are you pretty much done with them?
I'm not necessarily done with them. If they were the last guys in that tier, I would take them. I don't usually take the first guy in that tier, I would say. Daniel Jones is usually the last guy in that tier.
Did you say golf, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Jamie,
What do you have?
Max taking down the Tristan Ebner. Nice.
I have him projected for 7.
Let me pull it out for you.
That is a good number.
You a Falcon guy? Is he the Falcon? No, Bears. He's the Bears.
a lot.
A lot.
A
Bears guy.
For 1,000.
You know, honestly, I don't have that many crazy Bears cards. It's like one of the few teams I don't really have much from.
Mike Florio of the NFL Network tweeted this out yesterday, but he was.
I got some Justin Fields rookies that were from the National a couple years ago, but that's about probably the best.
Okay, so he was alluding to 4 points past touchdown in terms of what quarterbacks have run for 700 yards.
Yeah, the Olaves are pretty sweet.
6 points per passing touchdown. So since 2010, rush for at least 700 yards in the season. I'm sorry.
I got so many Drake Londons being graded right now too. A bunch of autos. All right, where the heck is this happening? Probably one of these actually. Now I think about it.
The worst season for a quarterback that has
I ordered. I have some like team dividers, but I only have one set, so I just ordered more for my buy it now thing, so I could find them quicker. Because I have to search through all of them to find it. But yeah, I think Olave's going to do pretty good this year. Here it is, Tristan Ebner.
You don't have to be a very prolific passer, but if you can run for 700 yards, you are going to be a good fantasy quarterback. If that's what you're anticipating for those two guys, then you're going to have to.
Appreciate the purchase, man.
Adam brings this up all the time. A lot of what these guys have done.
He had a 35 too. That's a nice one. Who, Drake London? Yeah, I like Drake London. I had him in fantasy last year. I mean, I don't think I ever played him. Oh, Olave. Yeah, Olave's going to have a great year again.
I will say Lamar Jackson has 695 rushing yards this year.
Olave's going to do fine. I just don't know if I'm going to draft any of
How
them.
many did he have in the
I don't know if I trust him enough to be that, because he goes pretty high in draft in fantasy. So
Secondary was pretty good.
I don't think I'm going to draft him just because of how high he goes. London, I probably won't either, because London goes so high too. Which is shocking because he did not have a great year.
How does your strategy change in a two
Yeah,
quarterback?
just let me know if you're interested in anything else, man. We could work a deal if you wanted to get a couple things. I have a bunch of stuff that I haven't even listed too. I don't think there's much there.
You'll be lucky if Trevor Lawrence makes it to the back end of round 2, and it might be because somebody who's picking 12 takes him with his second pick instead of his first pick. What you have to think about is how risky do you want to be with your quarterback?
Let me see if I have any Olave I haven't listed either. I think I've listed all my Olaves. I got a ton of Drake London and Desmond Ritter that I haven't listed.
All the older quarterbacks,
But
are they going to rebound? These are things that you've got to think about. You might want to prioritize some of the safer quarterbacks. I would consider Jones in that mix.
yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff I have listed, but I have a stack of things right in front of me that I haven't had a chance to list it.
You might
Yeah, I got a Gridiron Olave, which is like nothing.
I try to get 2 quarterbacks with my first 3 picks in Superflex Junior because I don't want to mess around. I don't want to try and be that guy that's going to find the diamond in the rough.
I think I've probably listed all my Olaves because Olave sells. I pulled an Olave at Illuminance. That was like my one of my first hobby boxes in a long time. I pulled an Olave rookie. That one was pretty cool. That was a while ago though. Graded at 10 too, which is sweet.
And you're not the Lamar Jackson guy. That's why I very adamant about this out a little bit. So that you're concerned about Burrow.
I do have a DJ Moore auto, but
the strategy part of this,
I'm probably going to use that for the duck race going at some point.
you're taking one of those top tier guys, but you get to play the board a little bit coming back in the second and third at the turn, knowing that you'll see if there's like 4.
I got a David Montgomery, but I don't know if you're still a fan of David Montgomery. I got a rookie jersey of his. Yeah, hobby boxes are cool, but like they're getting like too expensive that it's like not even worth it. Like it's too risky.
Just wait to see what comes back because you're going to get a pretty good player in round 2 at the back end of round 2. If you're at the back end of round 1, it's a much tougher call. There's so many.
But yeah, the one I bought was like 200. It was like $200 for the Luminance one, and it came with like 2 or 3 autographs. I think it came with 3 autographs and like 2 jersey cards. So it was like pretty sweet. Some number cards. Yeah, these are the only 2 Olave cards I don't have listed that I could find right away. So like just base stuff. So it's definitely not interested in that. But I got London number to 199, 299, number to 399 jersey, Desmond Ritter jerseys, Algier, London jersey, Desmond Ritter 199, Desmond Ritter 499, Desmond Ritter 399. Yeah, that's why I did it. It was I bought it from a card shop too. So always like supporting a local guy.
Like that's knowing that there's still going to be very, very good players at other positions still running back and receiver because all the quarterbacks are now pushed up. So I tend to, whenever I'm at the middle to back end of round one, I'm going quarterback almost.
Okay. I'll just say I'm looking at Draft Sharks Superflex ADP, and one that Superflex you just never know. It's so hard to predict where these quarterbacks will go, but 3.9.
Yeah, no worries. I'll send you a picture, man. I appreciate you stopping by and making a purchase.
Rodgers, Geno Smith, Anthony Richardson. Round 5, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson. That's the end. And then it's Derek Carr, Bryce Young, Jordan Love, Stafford. Kyler Murray's still there, but based on the draft we did, based on Fantasy Sharks ADP, you can still get a top 18-ish quarterback in round 4, maybe even round 5. All right, moving on here to 4 points per passing touchdown leagues. Heath, why don't you tackle this one quickly? How does your strategy change in 4 point per passing touchdown leagues?
Well, it's an obvious boost to the rushing quarterbacks, and it's also a kind of a decrease to those passing quarterbacks who succeed based on a high touchdown rate and not necessarily yards. Because like we talk about the rushing quarterbacks getting a boost. I don't know that it's necessarily a boost to Josh Allen, who's going to throw 35 to 40 touchdown passes.
Let me know if anybody has any questions on anything.
Fantasy points for all those touchdowns. But who really gets boosted up are the guys who succeed without throwing very many touchdowns, like Daniel Jones. But it does hurt guys like Aaron Rodgers. Generally, in the past, it has hurt guys like Kirk Cousins, although Cousins had a low touchdown rate. It's really good for somebody like Derek Carr, though, and he's not a rushing quarterback because Carr doesn't generally throw a lot of touchdowns.
It's really good for him, but it doesn't vault him into must-start territory or anything like that.
It vaults him into must-start territory in 2 QB leagues for me, which he isn't right now.
Okay. All right, let's do sleepers, breakouts, and busts. We'll go Jamie, Heath, Dave. My favorite sleeper quarterback is blank. Dave? Heath?
Well, I mean, he's got 10th round ADP, so I'm going to say Anthony Richardson.
Love both those picks. I will give some love to Jared Goff as a sleeper.
So you guys all have Richardson ranked the highest, right?
Yeah.
Goff, Smith,
And I almost think maybe this is like a echo chamber thing. I don't see other people loving Richardson. The fact that we just ran off some ADPs where Richardson's lower, we have him ranked. I think we collectively see him differently than a lot of other people.
There are a lot, and I see this on Twitter, there are a lot of people who think that Anthony Richardson might not start this year. There are even a lot of people who don't think he's going to start the first half of the season.
He just took all the first team reps yesterday.
And they've been going. Go ahead.
Are you okay that you are now the second member of the Gardner Minshew fan club? Passed.
Adam Azer is in.
He's the leader of the Gardner Minshew fan club.
I do not think. Look, I don't know, but I do not think Richardson's going to start 17 games. I think he's going to struggle. And it was a Michael Pittman conversation where I said I'm so low on Richardson that I should be higher on Pittman because I think Pittman would be pretty good with Minshew. But look. The thing is, my anti-Richardson argument has always been about where you guys have him ranked. I will not make any argument, which is top 10. I will not make any argument against Richardson at his ADP.
I think this is less of an Anthony Richardson discussion than it is a philosophy discussion. I don't know why you would take Goff or Geno or Cousins or Daniel Jones ahead of Anthony Richardson when one of those guys is probably going to be available in the last round of the draft. I would take the upside guy first, and then I will find a guy. And I would even go so far, and I've said this before, unless your league is full of Adam Azers who are going to all draft 2 or 3 quarterbacks in a 1 quarterback league, I think you could probably stream 19 fantasy points per game, maybe even 20 fantasy points per game. So it doesn't really matter what Anthony Richardson's floor is. It doesn't matter what Tua's floor is. You're drafting in early quarterbacks based on their ceiling, and you'll find that 20 to 21 fantasy point per game floor either on the waiver wire or in the last round of your draft.
Yeah, I do not disagree with any of that. And I'm always the guy pushing it back against the Richardson thing, but what you said makes sense. I guess I just wouldn't make it. I wouldn't intentionally miss out on the top 8 quarterbacks to draft Richardson.
Agreed.
No. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to throw out 2 guys as sleepers here. They are 2 QB league sleepers. Ryan Tannehill and Jimmy Garoppolo are now QB 30.
So we know if you guys have any questions.
I think if they stay healthy, they're probably going to be reliable guys in 2 QB roles. I'm not going to say anything else. They're not going to be like great. Maybe Tannehill could be. Tannehill had a really good stretch. Now he has Hopkins. So, but I just thought those guys were going a little bit too low.
I think Tannehill is still not getting drafted appropriately because people are expecting him to get benched. And if you look at what they just did by signing DeAndre Hopkins, that speaks to we are competing. And if they're competing, they are sticking with Tannehill until he gets hurt. So if he stays healthy, it will be Tannehill in the Brazil. I couldn't agree more with his call. Now Garoppolo is so interesting. There was a report yesterday that he's not throwing the ball deep with any success, which again, not big surprise.
What?
But you know, it's just like, okay, at what point if they're bad, does he get pulled? Because that could easily happen, especially if Jacobs plays this out in a negative way and Devontae's not happy. Like this could go bad. Like he's not somebody that I'd be very inclined. But Tannehill, I'm pulling.
Let's go to breakouts here. We'll go Dave, Heath, Jamie. Dave, your favorite breakout quarterback is blank.
It's Trevor Lawrence. Expecting a huge season from him, upgraded weapons, and chance to do better than the 22 points per game he had during his best stretch last year.
Sorry, Heath.
Oh, I'm second. Okay, I was so shocked by Dave giving me the free space that I like Justin Fields. I think that Justin Fields will be the best breakout quarterback and finish the top 5 guy this year.
But did he break out last year? Or are you saying he'll be better than he was during his big stretch last year?
Well, I think Lawrence's big stretch last year was much better than 22 fantasy points per game.
Yeah, I think so.
Like Lawrence had a 4 or 5 game stretch where Adams talked about it before, where he was a top 3 or 4 fantasy quarterback.
His last
They're
6
both
games
breakouts. It's fine.
No, they are both breakouts. Trevor Lawrence in the 5-game stretch, he was the number 4 quarterback overall, number 2 per game, and 6 point per passing touchdown.
Let me know if you guys have any questions or anything.
Then the last 3 games of the season, he slumped. We can get into that a little bit later. I think there are some excuses in there for at least 2 of the games. But all right, Lawrence and Fields are the obvious breakouts. Jamie, is that were you going to say one of them?
No, I'll say Tua. I think again, another quarterback that we saw have some very good moments, but it wasn't sustained. And if he stays healthy, he could have an amazing season. He could be. I heard one NFL person say that, and they have some ties to cover the Dolphins, say that Tua could be the next 5,000-yard passer in Dolphins history. I think that's a stretch, but he's going to have, I think, the chance if he stays healthy again. 4,500 yards and maybe 40 touchdowns. It'll be a good spot for where you're drafting him. So like I said, I put the way I tier it. I put those 3 guys, not Fields, but Lawrence, Richardson, and Tua in the same tier because I think all 3 of these guys, as he phrased it as perfectly as you can, they have as huge a ceiling as you can find, and you're getting them later, and then you can still pair them with something.
Okay, so if we focus on Fields and Lawrence as the breakout candidates, guys that are being drafted, with a guy like Justin Herbert, who just 2 seasons ago was the number 3 quarterback in fantasy. Similarly to Lamar Jackson, a little after Lamar Jackson, but I take Fields over Jackson personally. Do any of you, and I think I know where this is going, it's going to be Heath on Trevor Lawrence, do any of you not really think, are any of you not in on this movement of Fields and Lawrence being big breakouts and league winners, basically?
I think they're all good breakout candidates. And I'm becoming more interested in buying Lawrence as a breakout the more clips I see of Calvin Ridley looking like Calvin Ridley. If he gets through all of training camp healthy, maybe all the way in. But he is the one that I'm least excited about.
Okay, take it for what it's worth just on Lawrence while we're here. So we have all of our reporters at training camp stops. And the mayor of Jacksonville, Pete Frisco, was just in Jaguars camp, and I talk to Pete all the time. He said that Trevor looked amazing. That they're not worried at all about Calvin's toe injury, and he's got so much upside. So there's like if you are inclined to wait, and again, I think the waiting conversation for this position changes a little bit now because it used to be wait until like the 10 through 15 group, but you can get a league winner Herbert at 7, Lawrence at 8, Tua at 9, Richardson at 10, whatever you want, however you want to see those guys ranked, because they're going to go after everybody else in front of them. You're going to be very happy about those guys if they hit. Now they have to hit, but you're going to be very happy.
There is an enormous difference. Like the public right now is viewing Lawrence basically as Fields, and then Tua's 40 picks later. But right now, Lawrence and Fields are both at pick 50. Tua's at pick 90.
You think that's more though concern about Fields still as opposed to hype about Lawrence? So that's the way I view it. I think it's still more the public is in Fields get.
They're drafting him, with the same spot as Lawrence. I think the point for Heath was that they're drafting Tua so much later. What I find,
Oh yeah, no, I understand.
what I find almost hypocritical is that based on the comments I see, the Tua thing is so much about injury. I feel like
Well, how is it not?
What's that?
But how is it not?
No.
That,
What's hypocritical to me is that nobody's downgrading Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. If you have both of them, one in the first round, one in the second round, what are you thinking that's going to happen with Tua Tagovailoa? He's going to get hurt, miss half the season, because then you probably should have just.
So isn't that more of Waddle? But still, Tyreek was fine.
But they're not giving you what you're drafting them to do if Tua isn't there. I think the Dolphins made a good move by getting Mike White. I think
But
they're
apparently he's not running away with the second job though.
No, I know he's not.
You got to feel good about Skylar Thompson then again.
Yeah,
Let's go to busts here. Sorry, let's go to busts. Let's go Heath, Jamie, Dave. Blank will be a bust.
I hate this.
Come on,
Let
baby.
me know if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm gonna say that Trevor Lawrence at the 4 or 5 turn is going to be a bust, because if there's not a good answer to this question, I don't think, based on ADP. But Lawrence is being picked a couple of rounds earlier than I would take him, so that's the answer. I do think, like we're talking about 4 or 5 game stretches for all these guys, but Fields and Tua's best month or month and a half was still quite a bit better than Trevor Lawrence's.
Okay, so Trevor Lawrence and is Heath's reluctant call. And
Just like 20 seconds ago, buying into the idea of Lawrence. That's
That's why I said I hate it.
It's cost.
Okay, I forgot who's second. Jamie, go ahead.
I'm going to say it costs, and that's the only reason I'm going to say it is Mahomes. I'm not drafting him in round 1 in the 1 quarterback league, so it's nothing to do with his performance. He will be great, but is he going to be that much better than the guys behind him, and even the guys that you will make the combo of quarterback and whatever other player that you can get a little bit later? So Mahomes at cost at round 1.
All right, Dave, how about you? Blank will be a bust.
In 44 drafts since news about Burrow's injury, Deshaun Watson's ADP is 75th overall. I think that's way too high. He's not an early round second. That's on NFC.
Used to be worth that. So,
once upon a time in his career, yes.
Yeah. I always think though for this, and I'm going to be a hypocrite by saying this because it's a matter of where they're being selected. I always like when we get a little bit later in the draft though. What's the ranking of the quarterbacks as opposed to the overall? Because and this goes to Keith's point about personal drafts versus analyst drafts, ADP, and all those things.
So let me know if you guys have any questions.
It really is.
yeah, but Watson's QB9, and I obviously
It's too high. No, totally too high.
They-
Call it perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wish his ADP was more in that group with Tua and Dak and Cousins instead of clearly above it. So that's a little disappointing. But he does bring a lot more rushing potential than those guys, especially Tua and Cousins. This is a guy that can be a 500-yard rusher. Tua rushed for 70 yards last year, which was low for him, but that is something to consider. And if Watson can bounce back, then he's certainly worth that pick. He can just be what he was.
Did we settle on? Is it the Shazer? Is that the name?
Shazer, that's me. Sean Hazer. Great. Exactly who I want to be linked to. Thank you for that, Jamie.
I will say, based on ADP, Justin Fields is the only quarterback in the top 12 who is being drafted lower than I rank him.
He's the best value by far. By far. 8th quarterback off the board, by far.
Fields.
Oh, okay. Tell me why. I want to go to break, but tell me before we do that. After we go to break, tell me why Justin Fields and or Trevor Lawrence should be taken ahead of Justin Herbert. I think it is very interesting discussion to have, and we'll have it right after this. All right, so I do want to get into ADP for everyone, and I'm not sure that we really. I think we more or less. You good with the top three? You good with the top three? Like we talked about when we take them and
Yeah.
for sure things. So
I mean, we could discuss the order.
all right, just give me your order. Just give me your order. Go ahead.
Mahomes, Hurts, Allen.
Oh, why did we do that?
In the playoffs is the end of that sentence. Mahomes, Allen, Hurts.
What happened? I cut out.
No, you said Mahomes, Hurts, Allen was a sentence.
Oh.
Very funny. Where's the yeah. Jamie, what's your order?
Same as he. Mahomes, Allen.
You just having fun with you two.
Let me know if anybody has any questions on
Please take
anything.
his access away. 4 point per passing touchdown. Give me your order for your top three.
Mahomes, Allen.
Allen, Hurts, Mahomes.
Hurts, Allen, Mahomes.
So after that, I know I teased the whole Herbert thing. We'll get to that. After that, ADP has Joe Burrow 4th. Now, I don't know what's changed since the injury. I guess I could look at that. But
I got it.
all right, what's that? You tell me. But it was I did ADP since July 21st, and then a little bit more recent. That's the 85 draft. Joe Burrow was going 32nd overall. Lamar Jackson was going 36th overall, and then Herbert. Yeah, go ahead.
In the last 3 days, there have been 12 drafts. Burrow is still QB4, but he has fallen to pick 35.
And then Jackson right after that.
Yeah, and then Herbert. Like they're within 2.5 picks of each other.
Okay, so Burrow, Jackson, Herbert, Fields, Lawrence. Do all of you have Lawrence at the end of that group of 5?
I do.
Yeah.
Technically, I have Tua at the end of that group of 5, but yes.
Okay, Lawrence is the lowest ranked of that group.
Yes.
Could you see that changing? Could you guys see you putting Lawrence ahead of any of that group of 5, and no injuries? Okay, let's say Burrow's back for week 1. Could you see yourself moving Lawrence ahead of any of them, or do you think he will be the lowest ranked of that group of 5 quarterbacks?
Lowest.
Okay, so then let's just talk about this group. Should Burrow be 4th?
Probably 4th of the top group? No, he should not be 4th.
Who should be? Lamar. Lamar's the hardest for me to predict. Dave,
I have Lamar on Fields back to back, but Lamar.
I think I've got Lamar lower than everybody. I've got him 6th.
Why?
Because I don't think he's getting back to that MVP form. I know he got off to a great start last year, and then things kind of fell off for him then. Last 3 years, 22.5 fantasy points per game, 21.6 fantasy points per game, 24.7 fantasy points per game. He's got glorious upside. We know why, but I just think there's too much risk to prioritize him versus Burrow. I think Fields will have more rushing yards than Jackson. His team wants him to throw more and run less. So that means he's going to throw more and run less. And they upgraded his receiving core. I think he'll be good. I like him as a starter. I'm assuming Burrow will be fine.
Let me know if anybody has any questions on anything.
And I'm taking Fields out.
I do agree that Fields will run more than Jackson, but we have a lot more evidence of Jackson as a competent NFL passer than we do Justin Fields. And I they both had big upgrades in their receiving core, but I think Jackson's pass catching weapons are still quite a bit better than Fields.
I agree with that.
By the way, I have to do this.
But that's just an Azer stat.
If anyone deserves to be Azer stated, it is Lamar Jackson. Because each of the last 2 seasons, he has played about 10 snaps or less in a game and scored 1 or 2 fantasy points. And it has dropped him so far down in points per game. So his points per game, if you remove those games, and then the last 3 seasons, he's been 25.5, 24.2, and 24.3. That's in 6 point per passing touchdown leagues. That's a lot better than what Dave said, but it's actually really not that special. I mean, it's definitely like 7 or so, and it would have ranked top 5, but it's not even coming close to Allen or Hurts or Mahomes from last year. It's not coming close to what Burrow did when he had Chase and Jefferson. Do you think that Lamar Jackson can still get to 27, 28 points per game? Because it's been about 24 to 25, removing the games that he's left with an injury, 3 straight years in 6 point per passing touchdown leagues. I think he still has the 28-point upside.
Yeah, I think you have to argue that he technically has 40-point upside because that's what he averaged in his first 3 games last year. So there will be spike weeks with Lamar. That's just going to come with the territory. But I think he's going to be swingy. There's going to be a lot of games where he's under 20, might be under 18. We might be able to say the same thing for Fields. I just think Fields could be a little more consistent.
I think there's a chance. Adam, you talk about Doug Peterson's first time as a head coach in Philadelphia and how that first year, before everybody knew what he was doing, the offense was so much more successful. It basically got worse as an offense every year. I think that's what happened to Greg Roman. And I do think there's risk with an offensive coordinator change. Sometimes that goes bad for the quarterback. But I do think the
So, if anybody has any questions,
I think he has 30-point upside this year, and that's the big difference for me between him and Burrow. Is I think Fields does have it, but isn't as likely to reach it. I don't think Burrow has the same upside as those two.
With Fields, you're buying the hope, and he certainly can get there if the rushing stays the same or similar, plus 1,000-yard season, and he can get closer to north of 2,500 yards. There's one guy that's ever been 3,000, 1,000, and it's Lamar Jackson. And so he's already showed you that he can get to that level. And I do think that his improvements as a passer, while he won't get 1,200 yards rushing, which he did in the season, if he's going to be north of 900 yards and maybe get closer to 3,500 yards passing, he's going to be in the conversation to be the number 1.
Okay. So Herbert is one guy that we just barely spoken about. He hasn't come up in any of. You can't call him a sleeper. Maybe you can. You can't call him a breakout. I don't think you're going to call him a bust. He was such a bust last year. He was terrible. But man, he was the number 3 quarterback in fantasy before that. Loaded with talent. Dave, why should I draft any of those guys? Jackson, Fields, Lawrence. Why should I draft them ahead of Justin Herbert?
Well, because of the rushing upside in the case of Fields and Jackson, I think that is basically the best argument for them. And I would take Jackson ahead of Justin Herbert. Herbert's also getting a new offensive coordinator, but we like what we're seeing from them, and we think that the new offensive coordinator will A, keep the Chargers throwing the ball a ton, and B, give Herbert a chance to be more explosive and to make plays downfield. It's Kellen Moore as the new play caller. We used to see him in Dallas. He did good things there for Dak Prescott. We've also seen Herbert get over 25 fantasy points per game. He did that in his first 2 years. Last year was a huge step back. He was hurt. The offensive line was hurt. The receiving core wasn't as good as it is now. Keenan Allen missed a big chunk of time. I think the argument can be made that Justin Herbert could be like the best bounce back quarterback in 2023 and get you close to that 25-point mark again. And if you're worried about injuries for Jackson or Justin Fields not coming through, maybe you're even worried about Joe Burrow. Dude, I think Justin Herbert could be that guy that you just wait on and draft.
You can't.
Just fine with.
You can't wait on him. That's why I think, Adam, you can call him a bust. If he's going to be drafted in early round 4 after that season last year, we're just pretending like that didn't happen. You could call him a bust.
Right.
I
bet he doesn't go that high.
You had just, look, it easily can be replicated, but his top 2 receivers missed a combined 11 games. He was playing through a rib injury. His offensive line was banged up.
Terrible.
His offense coordinator was terrible. They added another player, that in the first round to help his receiving core. They kept 2 premier guys on the team in terms of Austin Eckler, who wanted to trade, and Gerald Everett, who thought were going to get cut. He has as good of weapons and system as any quarterback you can ask for. Plus, and again, take it to the start of the show, Adam, rightfully so, maybe saying that 2020 and 2021 seasons were pumped up for passers. He lived in that era of what those guys did. Those were his 2 best seasons, 26 points per game in both those years. But he has that upside because he showed it to us. And he'll probably run a little bit more than he did last year because
he will
playing through the rib injury. So yeah, I'm with you, Adam. I feel like he should be in the top 5. I might make that adjustment.
I feel like all those guys have a great case, So
totally.
But
this remember last year, it's obviously easy to look in hindsight and say, okay, we maybe rushed him off the flagpole a little bit too soon. But we were saying ahead of Mahomes. I know Heath wasn't, but I think the industry was saying ahead of Mahomes last year because of the loss of Tyreek Hill, and we got burnt by it. But the situation got better. As bad as last year was, flipping on its head, he could be in that conversation again easily right away.
Let me know if anybody has any questions on anything.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the quarterback tiers episode, and it was, he does fall into this group a little bit. So does Russell Wilson, maybe Aaron Rodgers. But the best value, some of the best values at quarterback have been players who have already shown they can be great, who are coming off a bad year, and getting a new offensive coordinator. Russell Wilson falls into that category much later in the draft. Herbert obviously falls into that category in the middle of the draft. But there's been a good amount of examples.
I think that's a really good point. It works much better when the player is being penalized for last year. Justin Herbert is not.
That's a great point, but he still has shown that he's even better than his ADP. He's had a year where he's been even better than his ADP. But you like him in the mix there, right? With those guys. You don't want to take him in round 4.
I've got him in round 6.
6. Where do you have Fields?
Round 4 or 5.
Okay, so you're clearly lower on Herbert then.
Right.
And Dave and Jamie, do you think Herbert is basically in the same tier as Jackson and Fields?
Yes.
Half step below.
Okay. All right, so let's go to our next player. It's Deshaun Watson. And do you think Watson should be more, in terms of, okay, we already said he should be kind of more lumped in with the other guys. He's not, but who's optimistic about Deshaun Watson?
You.
I am. Anyone else?
I don't hate Deshaun Watson's fantasy value. I just don't want to reach for him. So I think where he's being drafted is too soon. The number quarterback is being selected as too soon. But if I wait on the position, he's one of the guys I'm targeting. Not as aggressively as Adam is, but one of the guys I'm targeting.
I think his ADP might be too soon in the 70s or whatever, but I don't know that QB9 is too soon. Who should definitively be taken ahead of him? I know you guys are going to say Tua. Is there anyone else that you think he definitely should be going behind?
I'll take Richardson's upside. I'll take a chance on that over Deshaun, and I'll take Dak over Deshaun.
Okay. I still think that he has shown he has huge upside. Once upon a time, he was the number 1 quarterback per game as a rookie. He's been more like 6 or 7, 5.
Oh, no, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 QB6 finishes in his career on a points per game basis. Yeah, he was awesome in Houston. I'm doing my best not to hold him back. I'm doing my best not to count last year against him because it just seems like resistant. Because I think it was just bad circumstance. He missed that huge chunk of the year. This is going to be a much more normal year. Also, his receiving core is nominally better. What I hold against him is that this is an offense. Kevin Stefanski is a play caller who's been run heavy for 5 years. We've seen
on run heavy offenses before. Bill O'Brien was run heavy basically every single season.
Not like this. Not as bad as what Deshaun Watson's or Stefanski's track record.
But I think they're going to throw more. I think.
Well,
the highest
more.
pitch he's ever been.
You don't get Watson last year.
Exactly.
You don't get Watson last year. Trade for Elijah Moore. Right. Draft Jalen Hyatt or not Cedric Tillman. You don't make all these moves and say you're not going and let your 1A running back, whatever you want to tag, leave and not replace him with anybody significant. So all these moves speak to one and throw more. I'm not going to hold last year against him either, just because.
Mr. Bells. So we got the duck races going. Sorry, I'm just trying to finish something up for work, but so we got the duck races going. The mega duck is for the top row, and the booklet 1 of 1 is first place. Blue duck race is for the middle row. So it's $10 for the blue one, $20 for the mega. Every card in the mega duck is a RPA, and you get anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks, and that's how many ducks you get in the race. Blue is basically the same thing, but it's jersey cards, and you get anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks. So everything's a jersey card in the blue, everything's an RPA in the mega. And then every duck pull you get 5 bonus pulls from the NFL box. So it's all rookies, inserts, jerseys, just random stuff in here. No base. And then you could hit the Jordan Love or Cam Akers. If you hit the slab, you get to pick which one you want. Then we got the 2 pulls for $10 for the jersey box, 13 pulls for $10 from the NFL box, and 6 pulls for $10 from the numbered box. And then we also have mystery packs. And there's 7 of those left, and 3 of them have slab chasers. But you get 10 cards in those, 2 jerseys, 2 numbered cards, a rookie card, and then 5 inserts of rookies. You get that guaranteed. So let me know if you have any other questions on anything, man. We also do the share stream bonus, so if you make a purchase and share the stream, you get 5 free pulls.
I do think that in his prime argument, and it's a Josh Allen discussion too, and soon a Lamar Jackson discussion as well, but like, that prime for running quarterbacks historically is much, much shorter than it is for complete pocket passes.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on to the next group, and it's Dak and Cousins. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 2. I know you guys like 2. We spend enough time on him. Dak and Cousins.
So let me know if you guys have any questions.
Who do you like better, Dak or Cousins? Who has more upside?
Yeah, Justin. So we got the main things we graces. So the Mega Duck is for the top row, and then the booklet Nike 1 of 1 is first place. There's only 5 spots left in that. Every card in there is an RPA, and you get anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks. And then every duck purchase you make, you get 5 5 pulls from the NFL. Blue Duck is for the middle row, basically the same as the Mega, just $10 instead of 20. And then every card is a jersey card, and you get 1 to 3 ducks. Then we got mystery packs. Everyone comes with 2 jerseys, 2 numbered cards, a rookie card, and 5 inserts of rookies. 3 of them have slabs, so you get a slab on top of that. We also got the NFL jersey and auto box, so 2 pulls for $10. Got the regular box, 13 pulls for $10, and then 6 pulls for $10 from the numbered box. And all the pull boxes, so those 3 pull boxes, have slab chasers. If you hit that, you can pick either the Jordan Love or Cam Akers. So let me know if you have any other questions. I know it's kind of a lot if you've never been here.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
But just let me know if you have questions.
Those guys have, and I guess that's just because, and I always bring this back, and you always make the point, even for a 30-year-old quarterback, like what he's done is not equal as upside. It's just some imaginary thing that we project into the future. But like Dak, as we talked about, Deshaun Watson was the number 1 quarterback in fantasy for 8 games. Dak was the number 1 quarterback in fantasy.
You also got the share stream bonus. If you share the stream and make a purchase, you get 5 bonus free pulls from the NFL box.
Here's why. Got a new offensive coordinator. They don't have Kellen Moore anymore. They're going to slow down their pace. They might have 1 good wide receiver.
There are 40 ducks total in the race, and there's only 5 spots left. So it started off with 25 cards and 40 ducks. So you can hit anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks, but there's 40 total in the race, and top 5 finishing ducks win a prize. So whoever finished first gets that booklet. Second is the Sauce Gardner auto at a $199. Third is the Alvin Kamara RPA at a $299. Fourth is a Waddle rookie auto, and then 5th is a Drake London RPA. So pretty good prizes.
No, but again, to your question earlier, it's not bad to take 2.
50 ducks total in the middle, so 30 cards and 50 ducks.
Richardson, Lawrence, Dak,
and that one's $10. Mega is $20. But Mega, you're guaranteed an RPA, and then 5 pulls from the NFL box, and Blue, you're guaranteed a jersey and 5 pulls from the NFL box. But the big things are the prizes. That's where all the money is in the race.
I don't know. Jones, Cousins is safe, and I wonder if he throws more touchdowns. He had very low touchdown rate last year.
So let me know if you have any other questions, Justin. We only got 5 spots left for the Mega, and then 13 spots left for the Blue Dot. And as soon as it sells out, we run it.
Is there anybody who else, who at this point, from Dak and beyond, do you think could win you a league?
Again, if you're just going to say that he improves as a passer, what Daniel Jones does as a rusher, it's hard to replicate. So you have to buy into him still doing that, but throwing with a better success rate, mostly from a touchdown.
So you think Jones could be a league winner? Who else? I mean, obviously you think Richardson could be.
Well, Richardson, again, the ADP versus what the expectations would be. I think this is.
I'll say second half Kyler Murray.
Great one. But I think the thing with Geno and Cousins is if they can get to that next level, Cousins from his touchdown perspective, Geno just overall, because I think he was good. And you could even say maybe Heath's second half golf when Jameson comes back. That's another one that this offense looks like it could be very explosive from a passing perspective too. But they just and this is why I think you keep calling him safe. You know what the floor is. It's just can they get to that next level from a ceiling perspective, right?
Who do I call Luke Cousins?
You keep saying Cousins, Dak, who's safe like those guys. I think Gino's safe. I think Goff is safe. Daniel Jones is more volatile because if it goes the other way, then you're a little bit worried about it.
After last year, and with a change of team and that new team's offensive line situation, is Rodgers safe? Because I put him in that tier, but I'm not really sure if he's like that. Whole thing could be a dumpster.
The worst offensive line he's probably had in less than 55.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on tomorrow. Yeah, probably from 2 to I don't know. I don't have really any plans tomorrow, so I'll probably stream for a while. But I'll be back. I'll be on around 2.
We're asking a hell of a lot of Garrett Wilson, who by all means should be asked a lot of because he showed it last year. But then you're relying on all these guys that he brought with him from the Packers, who are old or just not great. Lazard and Cobb and the whatever they think Miko Hardman's going to offer. They could go south quick for sure. But I think that's why he's being drafted and ranked appropriately.
I think their season could go south, but I think Rodgers' numbers could go north because no one wants to start Lazard or Hardman or Tyler Conklin in their fantasy leagues, but they will contribute and they will help. And I push comes to shove. I think Aaron Rodgers can say, "You got me here. I'm going to win this game." And he'll throw more than he has in Green Bay. That's the interesting thing about his time in Green Bay. His attempts per game were pretty low. You'd expect him to be higher. And I wonder if that run game really isn't popping for the Jets. I wonder if he touches 35 to 38 attempts per game.
All right, we got to wrap this up. One other thing. I don't know that I ever mentioned this about Rodgers, but man, he had such an easy schedule last year. He faced the Lions, the Bears.
It's a nightmare this year.
He faced the Dolphins when their secondary was banged up. He faced the Titans, I believe. He had such an easy schedule.
All right, man. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm hoping we sell them out soon, but I'm only gonna be on for like another hour, so I don't know. There might be still some tomorrow.
All right. So, okay, other quarterbacks we haven't talked about.
So I appreciate that, man.
Pickett.
Thanks for hanging out for a bit.
We didn't really talk about Russell Wilson. I don't know if anybody thinks he's going to bounce back.
He will be better.
Yeah.
But again, hard to expect bounce back.
So, who else? The rookies. Atlanta.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love is interesting. It's a pretty good. It's a young receiving core, but it's got some upside. Love can run a little bit as well. It's just a matter of how much will they try and stay in games by running the football, and how much of their offense is going to be RPOs where they won't ask Jordan Love to throw 11 plus yards down.
Right. You got what could be a surprise in Sam Howell if his rushing numbers in college translate to the NFL. And look, he handled himself well for one game. Purdy and the rookies, I think, are interesting because the offense that Purdy has and the rookies, just the unknown commodities there. But I think two other veterans that are interesting. One we talked about a little bit in Tannehill, just because the addition of Hopkins gives him what he had in 2021 when he had his best season. At least if Hopkins is right, with a combination of AJ Brown, Corey Davis at this point, Hopkins and Traylon Burks. But does Stafford have bounce back appeal? I know it's hard to think that because his age, the team seems like he's going to be back. Cooper Kupp's obviously banged up right now, but if he plays a full season and Kupp plays a full season, he'll probably be in the top 12 conversation. Not necessarily you want to count on that going into the year by any stretch, but this is one of those guys that, okay, I'll pick him up week 3, week 4 because Richardson's struggling or Tua unfortunately got hurt or one of those scenarios. And, okay, I'll start him next week. You ride him for as long as you can.
Especially if their defense is terrible, which it might be.
Yep. All right. Well, that's a pretty thorough quarterback review. I want to thank you guys. Good stuff. And we will have tight ends tomorrow. No, I actually love tight end. I think it's my favorite position. A lot of strategy. And we'll talk to you tomorrow on Fantasy Football Today. Enjoy football tonight, everybody. See ya.
He had anywhere from 194 to, I think it was like 230 touches. So I'm not expecting a lot in the way of touchdowns for James Cook, but as a guy that you might be able to get in early round 7, I think he's worth taking the risk in for PPR. I think he can end up being a pretty good weapon in that Bills offense.
James Cook was so good. His advanced metrics, only 89 carries. Not a lot of carries, but of the 52 running backs with 80 or more carries. So how did he rank among 52 running backs? 17th in rush EPA, 15th in success rate, 2nd in yards per carry, 1st in yards before contact per carry, 23rd in yards after contact per carry, 17th in percentage of carries for 5 or more yards, 3rd in explosive run rate, that's percentage of carries for 12 or more yards, 18th in avoid rate. He was great. He was top 23 in every one of those categories. He was top 5 in several of them, and he was better than Devin Singletary in every one of them, and Devin Singletary's always been good in those categories as well. So
Let me know if you guys have any questions.
At this point, I know DeAndre Swift, we saw the report that he's working mostly in the passing game. Are you guys taking James Cook or DeAndre Swift?
I think just to disagree a little bit with what Dave said, the ADP right now is he's in round 7, and that's on NFC, which we know pushes down running backs. I think this guy's going to end up being around 5 picks. There's just going to be so much hype about him.
Oh, goodness. Do you think he should be?
I would probably settle on round 6 is where I would like to see him get drafted, but we're splitting hairs at this point. I think you'll see, just again, if that's the ADP we're going to continue to go by at least for the next couple of weeks, so we start to see our drafts a little bit more prominent, that ADP pushes down running back so much. So you get a Kamara suspension, he leapfrogs him. You're going to hear people like us say probably a little bit better than Cam Akers. Javonte Williams, if he has a step back, Ken Walker, depending on how long this scoring injury lasts, I'm just looking at the rankings that we have our defensive rankings here. You may see Cook creep into, and I'll look at our rankings right now. And so this is this morning. He's 27 for me. He's 30 for Dave. He's 24 for Heath. Heath is already on board with James Cook as a starter. So that's, I think, we'll start to see is just the steady incline of his rise, which might be deserving.
Let me know if you guys got questions.
All right, let's go to Jamie, your biggest rankings riser.
Sam Laporta, a guy that I thought might be the best rookie tight end with his landing spot in Detroit. I since have gone back in PK, just I think there's a little bit more upside there. But he's second, so he's a guy that was right around tight end 20, I think, when we started training camp. Now up to 14 for me. Love the setup for him. I think it's when I said this around draft time, this guy's 16 or after James Williams suspension, that was 6-game head start. In terms of getting targets, maybe being the second guy in targets for Detroit. To open season. Marvin Jones a little bit banged up. We can see a situation. I know you're a Josh Reynolds guy, so I'm sorry. But I think we see Laporta. He's already right away leading the tight end, and now tight end got hurt. Another guy that was maybe going to steal some opportunity. So love the setup for Laporta again. Rookie tight end, we know how those go. But if you are inclined to take a second guy, especially if you go greater late, take 2 of these guys. I think they could be a little bit for you. So like a Dulcich, Laporta pairing might be a good way to start your team if you have enough rush.
How about Laporta as just a disposable starting tight end for the first 6 weeks of the season while Jameson Williams is on the shelf betting on college football? Starts the year against Kansas City. That's going to be a high-scoring game. Should get involved there. After that, it's Seattle, Atlanta, Green
What's up,
Bay,
Paulson?
Carolina.
Let me know if anybody has any questions.
I don't think that's a terrible schedule for Laporta to get off to a decent start. And I don't know where you're taking him, Jamie. I've got him as a round 11 pick. I think that he's absolutely worth taking the chance on as a late round flyer type player. Not as much a tight end, but someone that just has some upside at any position.
Yep.
Would you take the
I don't want to look at it just as 6 weeks, like a disposable player. I want to hope that he's going to be my starter all season long.
Yeah, if you buy a mega poll, you're guaranteed at least 1 duck and an RPA, and then you also get 5 pulls. So you're guaranteed 6 cards and a duck. So you get a guaranteed RPA and anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks on the back. And then with every mega duck pull, you also get 5 pulls from the NFL box where you have a chance to hit the Jordan Love or Cam Akers. So you're guaranteed 6 cards and one of them's an RPA, and then you're guaranteed at least 1 duck. But you could hit up to 3. Well, let me. You could hit up to 2 ducks. So there's no 3 ducks left. But usually there's three ducks in there.
Tight end for the-
So there's only 5 spots
Could be
left.
6 months, so it
If
could
you have
be
any other
season.
questions, just let me know.
He missed a
Same
little
thing
bit of
goes for the
time.
blue duck, but everything's a jersey card instead of an
9
RPA.
through 18. He actually led the Lions tight ends in routes run. It's only 13 per game. But 13 per game was the most from weeks 9 to 18 for a tight end. I mean, they really need something from the tight end. They just didn't use it last year.
How many routes?
Just over 6 targets per game. So that's
We're also doing the share stream bonus, so if you make a purchase and share the stream, you get 5 additional pulls from the NFL box.
His first however many games this year, he did 3.7 catches per game. I wonder if Laporta just kind of wipes out everybody else they have on the tight end depth chart. He just has a ton of routes. That's what he does. It's a good route.
I would take Laporta or Komet. Dave, you getting fired up for Thursday? Always looking forward to some football. What do you think, man?
I am excited to watch Zach Wilson play for.
Yeah, it's in the bite now. You could either do just $20 of credit or a mega duck. I think if you search mega, it should be in there. But either way.
All right, yeah. Game of the
Yeah,
week,
but I can't wait to see who goes away with the Nike 1-of-1 booklet. That card is sweet.
Care that much about the game because there'll be a lot of backups, but hey, it'll be cool to watch a little football.
Well, we thought that last year, and then Josh Jacobs ended up starting.
Oh,
Let me know if you have any trouble finding it.
They hated him.
Oh, there you go.
No.
Terrible year.
All right, Ron. Let me know any number between 1 and 5 for your duck.
And I think his rationale is pretty good now. In the moment, it's like, decide that they do not value.
Listen, you know what I value? I value St. Jude and all the opportunities that we're going to have this month to donate to St. Jude, which will culminate in our draft-a-thon in late August. Which will be a 6-hour.
So it's only 5 in there. So any number between 1 and 5.
If you're familiar with it, we do it every year. We bring an industry guest who's on fantasy
3, you got it.
football. We raise money. And
1,
money's
2,
really, most of it's
3.
going to be raised between.
We have a Mark Walton RPA sweet patch on that and a 1 duck. And then let me know what 5 numbers you want from the pull box.
URL/FFT donate that you can go to tinyURL/FFT donate. Look at this, be a guest picker on Cover 3's ACC lock spot. That's going for over $1,000. That's great. We don't have a ton of stuff listed now, but throughout the month there will be so many things, including the fantasy football today.
Appreciate the follow, Hardwick.
Really cool podcast. Basically, there are going to be 8 leagues.
All right, man, you got it. All right, let's play you something good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Nice one there. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a Johnny McWilliams. This one's got to be numbered, right? Nope, just a random guy. And then we got a Brian Quick sweet patch on that, number to 41. That patch is awesome. And then a Carl Joseph, Matthew Stafford, and a Jimmy G pink. And let's see if you hit the slab. No slab. But appreciate the purchase, man, and you are in for the mega duck. So we got 4 left. As soon as it sells out, we run it. I'm going to be on until 6 today. If it doesn't sell out by then, if it doesn't sell out in the next 30 minutes, it probably is going to be run tomorrow on Friday. But we only got 4 spots left now, so hopefully it sells out in the next 30 minutes. But yeah, I got to get off right around 6 today. So in 50 minutes. So let me know if you have any other questions how it works. You don't have to be here to win either, so you get the prize regardless if you're here or not if you hit something.
Oh man, 2 Denver wide receivers going to miss time. KJ Hamler.
If you think of anything else, just let me know. You always can shoot me a DM too.
Have to take care of that. Hopes to be back this season, but Tim Patrick will not play this season. He tore his Achilles. He tore his ACL last year in the preseason. Now it's one Achilles, and that is just terrible. Yeah, and hope for a speedy recovery for him. But is there any fantasy impact here for the guys that are there?
So let me know if anybody has any questions. We're down to 4 mega ducks.
See a few more targets per game. because they don't have a surefire number 3 receiver. Could open the door for Dulcich. Same exact thing. I think Judy really is a touch. Marvin Mims is a name to watch. He's the rookie wide receiver. He's a fast guy. He started camp. I think he had a mild injury that kept him sidelined. Still might have it. But he's someone that you could look at in deeper leagues. Obviously, in rookie drafts, he's already getting taken in that round 2-ish range. But I do think this opens the door for Sutton to be a little bit more appealing as a bench receiver.
All right. You know what, Schaefer? Let's get Joey right in our mock tonight. And Joey, let's get Joey. Joey's also a podcaster and fantasy analyst. Let's get Joey on the live stream tonight. All right, Joey. I know you're watching on YouTube right
yeah,
now.
you
so
share. You just if you share and you share it wherever you want, that counts as a share. As long as it pops up on my feed that you share, you get the 5 pulls.
We should. We'll have him on tonight. More news, Jamie. Zach Moss. You made a case for, hey, take a late round flyer on Zach Moss. Well, he broke his arm, and he's out 4 to 6 weeks. So he's another running back on the Colts, those of you who don't know, who took over, kind of beat out Deion Jackson late last year. Got a lot of work, had a huge week 18, and now is there a point of drafting any Colts running back? He could be ready for the start of the season. What do you make of this?
I think if you're in your dynasty leagues right now and there's ad drops, clearly Evan Null should have been drafted in the rookie draft, but he's somebody that I would look at as potentially even complement to Jonathan Taylor. He could be a pass catching running back for what he showed in college. And then Deion Jackson, somebody that they still like as well. So they signed somebody. I don't remember his name. It's not a significant ad. I think something more for depth today or yesterday, but. Look,
Let me know if you guys have any questions on anything.
The most disastrous way. One of these guys can get work.
Ron, you're doing another mega duck. Any number between 1 and 4 now.
Yeah. Hull and Void. 33 catches. And
2. All right, you got it.
Last 2 seasons.
1, 2.
I'm going to fire through the
Got
rest of
A.
Dallas running back Ronald Jones is suspended.
Johnny Lee Higgins, RPA. Nice patch on that one too. And then another 1 duck out of 99 though.
They really like Deuce Vaughn, by the
And then let me know what 5 numbers you want.
Patrick T. Walker covered the Cowboys for their team website. Used to work for us a little bit. He said that he's actually
All right, you got it.
very, very tiny.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. We got a Marcel Doris, Adrian Peterson. Got a Franco Harris, Brett Hundley. Thought that one would be numbered, but it's not. Rookie. And then a Steve Breaston. That one's numbered at 250. And let's see if you get a slab. No slab, but appreciate the purchase again, man.
Well, the thing you want to see
We're down to 3.
Through the hole, and not being bobbled up. Because they're not going to hit him there, but if he's getting through it, not getting wrapped up.
3 mega ducks.
Pete Carroll says he could not imagine Jackson Smith and Jigba not being part of the mix right from the beginning. Can you guys imagine taking Jackson Smith and Jigba ahead of Tyler Lockett?
No, not yet.
Mike Williams has been playing in the slot. He's been moving around the formation more than he used to. We like that from Nick Williams?
3 mega ducks left.
That's that. Last year Keenan Allen wasn't slot dominant. They moved him outside a little bit. I wonder if this is just another change the Chargers are making to try and get everybody mix and match so that no one is pegged to being a slot guy or an outside guy. I'm curious to see how this offense really looks. All the reports from camp have been they're just crushing it on longer throws. Quentin Johnson's making highlight reel catches. Eventually, that'll trickle down to Mike Williams being pretty good. I've never been a big Mike Williams guy, but he's somebody else who's moved up a little bit for me in my rankings.
Adam, you're referencing the athletic story, right?
Yeah.
A lot of this is, first off, Kellen Moore's influence. So whatever happened last year, I think kind of throw it out. So Moore's influence on what they're looking at, and I think it's just going to be fun to see all these guys, which is why Gerald Everett's a great late round flyer.
So let me know if you guys have any questions.
And I think dismissing Quentin Johnson combined 11 games last year. He's going to play a lot, and it's going to be interesting to see how all these guys go.
You say dismiss everything from last year. Do you think that they still throw as much as they did last year?
Oh, they're going to throw more.
That would mean that they would be the team that throws the most of anybody in the NFL. I think they were second in pass rate this year. Could they be first in pass rate this year? It would not shock me in the least. I'd love to see it.
I don't know that they're going to throw more. I don't know you can expect that. That's like crazy amount of throwing, but they're going to throw a lot. Maybe they'll throw more. Whether they throw more or less, they're going to throw a lot. And by the way, I'm tired of doing mock drafts because I make it such a point to get Quentin Johnston. I feel like by the time we start doing our actual drafts, he'll be around or two earlier.
So take him a round or two earlier if you like him. I don't blame you for liking him. He's good.
It's one of the 2 picks you got me in our Dynasty League, which I was excited.
Yeah, baby. Jamie and I have back-to-back picks in the Dynasty League. Breece Hall expected back in a couple of weeks. Is there any scenario where you think James Cook could end up going ahead of Breece Hall?
Yeah. Dalvin Cook signs and Breece Hall stays in the puck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's say Dalvin Cook signs and Breece Hall doesn't stay on the puck.
I still think I'm taking
So let me know if anybody has any questions.
I still think so.
Breece, James, Dalvin, if that happens.
Schaefer, you got to make a thumbnail.
Only
Just
3 Mega Duck spots left.
Took to the Jets podcast. Make 3. Make Patriots, Jets, and Dolphins. Shane Zylstra, I mentioned, Lions tight end. He's out up to 6 months. Anthony Richardson missed practice. He had minor nasal surgery. He should be back today. I meant to bring this up on yesterday's show. I didn't get a chance. We'll do this real quick. We'll take a break, and then we'll talk about more risers and fallers. I was looking back at some of my notes from a year ago, from early August 2022, and just some of the preseason hype. And I just want to read. I don't think I'm going to read the source because I don't want to embarrass anyone. But some of the things I put in my notes. Elijah Moore seems to have firmly established himself as the number 1 wide receiver, according to quote, he seems to make at least one big play every practice. He's in line for a big year. This one I think is my favorite. The Falcons have a lot of questions this year, but Pitts is not one of them. Through a week, he's been the most dominant player Atlanta has. It might not be close.
I think I saw something similar just the other day.
With Pitts,
There you go.
there have already been enough reports on Desmond Ridder not being consistently accurate to make me a little bit nervous.
Then there were some good ones, though. Travis Etienne has been the star of camp, according to Jaguar Report. That was from last year. And this is another one.
That's not fair to give credit to the ones that were right.
Why? I don't want to embarrass anyone. I'll give credit to the ones that were. This was from ESPN. All signs are pointing.
Let me know if anybody has any questions. We only got 3 Mega Duck spots left.
Season after setting numerous records, rookie records in 2021. St. Brown's production skyrocketed when Lions coach Dan Campbell gave former tight ends coach Ben Johnson a bigger role in play calling responsibilities. So that was a very good call from Eric Woodward of ESPN back then. Right, so take it, the good and the bad, take it with a grain of salt when you see some of these reports. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, rankings risers right after this. Jamie had a list of rankings risers. Dave said he mostly agreed with them. We'll see if there are any that he disagrees with. We already got James Cook. Let's get James Conner. Currently, over the last month on NFC, he is a round 7 pick, James Conner. He's RB27 after Rachaad White and after DeAndre Swift, ahead of David Montgomery and Isaiah Pacheco. So Conner's RB27 on NFC over the last month. Jamie, where is he for you?
He is just outside the top 15. I think there's good enough reason to take him in round 4.
Holy cow. James Conner just outside the top 15 in our consensus.
Let me know if you have any questions.
In PPR. Round 4, maybe. Dave, your thoughts?
I agree. If not, even lean a little heavier into James Conner, which makes me a little uncomfortable, but I think that just tells you all about the running back position. I've got him 14. I think he is a round 4 pick. I started thinking about him, comparing him to Alexander Madison. 2 running backs that should get a lot of work in their offenses. And in the case of Conner versus Madison, I feel like Conner is the better talent. I took Conner over Madison. I would.
So So
I know it feels gross. It feels gross talking about anybody on Arizona because Arizona's going to be gross this year. But Arizona was kind of gross last year. It was pretty good. He's averaged over 15 PPR points per game each of the last 2 years. Yeah, he's
top 10.
Volume, touchdowns. He gives you a lot of the things that you want from a fantasy runner. So I think he's one of those settle for number 2 fantasy running backs before 50th overall.
In 4 games with Colt McCoy, 4 games that McCoy threw 21 or more passes, Connor scored, I'll just round up, 27, 13, 23, and 18 PPR points per game. Rounded down or up, but I didn't want to get the decimals. But he was incredible. But he scored a touchdown, at least one touchdown in every game. He also had 3 or more catches in 3 of the 4 games. We did it against good opponents, but okay. Let me just
in the pull box. So this pull box, every single card is an auto or jersey. This one,
over the last 2 seasons, there have been 46.
it looks like there are like 2, 3 in there left. I usually put about 5 in the whole box. So there's a couple left in here. Numbered box, I think there's a couple. But this one's all jerseys and numbers. And then the blue box is all jersey cards, and the mega is all RPAs. So if you have any other questions, just let me know. What's up, weekend?
And they were not good last year, but he only played in 3 games where they lost by 10 or more points. In those games, Connor had 10, 14, and 15 carries. So I don't know. I see a lot of reasons not to like.
Let me know if you guys got any questions. We only got 3 Mega Duck spots left, and then we're gonna run it.
How about this? He's played behind PFF's second worst run blocking team 3 straight years. He's been behind a terrible offensive line 3 straight years. I know they drafted running back in the first round, but they still might have a terrible offense.
You mean
what I say? Running back, my bad.
A running back. It would be bad if they drafted a running back in the first round.
So that would be my case against him if I were making one would be, look, we love the touches, but he's not good enough to justify going that high with him, RB16.
But has he ever been?
Nervous about Najee too.
Yeah, I'm saying like that's the type of guys we're looking at here. We're looking at guys, that are going to get volume. Like I would definitely take Jahmyr Gibbs over him. I would take Travis Etienne over him. I think Connor, rightly so, and I would take Dobbins over. But I think he belongs in the group of Madison and Dameon Pierce and Miles Sanders. Just looking at what and not here. I think that's kind of where he lives. Guys can get a lot of work. Offense, in his case, is clearly questionable. But the guys behind him are terrible. And that's I think the selling point is like he's not coming off the field. And I think when you look at obviously the receiving options on this team, they're very thin. Like we're going to pump up, understandably so, Trey McBride because of his situation. Again, no Zach Ertz for probably the majority of the season. They just lost over 200 targets. With DeAndre Hopkins gone, Zach Ertz probably not playing, and AJ Green, who was in the top 5 in targets, if you can even remember that, he had 47 targets last year, which is not bad if that gets distributed, to the running back position. So, they're missing over 200 targets that are going to go somewhere. And
so let me know if anybody has any questions.
Right.
Only 3 Mega Duck spots left.
More deadly, and so more scoring chances for him. I know, like you said, obviously did well with Colt McCoy, but you'd rather see Kyler Murray there to make this offense more successful. So, it might be a reach to say round 4. I would prefer to get in round 5. And if he's going in round 7, depending on where you're looking, if you're following rank lists, you're looking at our rank list. Clearly, we're going to have him higher than the average draft position. But if you're looking at projections, which is going to drive a lot of what ADP looks like because of auto picks, then you might see him get pushed down a little bit. And you get him at a discounted price. So round 5 is where you'd want to draft him, but round 4 is the earliest I would consider taking him.
I'm just going to say you're going to get a lot of it because I don't think his ADP. I'm looking at Draft Sharks right now. He's around 6th pick. He's RB 25. He's after Cam Akers. He's after Madison, DeAndre Swift.
Let me know if you guys got any questions on anything.
Ahead of him. I guess last guy we don't have to talk the whole show about Connor, but everything you said about Connor, I feel like it applies to Miles Sanders. Except Sanders is younger, has been a better running back. Not as good as Patrick, though, I guess.
Right.
Why would you take Connor over Sanders?
If you buy into Sanders being much more involved in the passing game, then you should absolutely take him off.
Great. That's what Heath does, right? Heath has Sanders over Connor.
He
still
has
have it pulled
Sanders.
up so I can tell you.
He has
He
Sanders
has-
for like Christian McCaffrey.
He's got Sanders 11th, and he has Connor 19th. For me, it's Connor, Madison, Sanders, so they're 3 picks apart. To me, they're similar. Dave has
Sanders is way down
a
there.
big difference. Yeah, he's Sanders 24 and Connor.
Michael Thomas is a riser for Jamie. Right now, NFC ADP has Michael Thomas as wide receiver 46, as a round 9 pick, behind Elijah Moore, behind Cortland Sutton, behind Quentin Johnston. Jamie, where do you have Michael Thomas?
So I just want to say I'm not getting fooled again. I'm not ranking him as a starter. I'm not going to go overboard, but he is, crept up to close to being in the 3 receiver range. Just outside of that, I think he's right around 36, 37. But look, if he's healthy, you know you're going to get a steal on draft day for however many games he may play. He's only played 10 over the last 3 seasons. But, I mean, you think about it even last year, the 3 games that he played, he averaged 16 PPR points. So while Chris Olave should be the new leader in the clubhouse in terms of best receivers on the team, he's got to get used to the quarterback in Derek Carr. But, I mean, this guy still has the ability.
So, if you guys have any questions.
I don't want to say a significant difference maker, but enough of a difference maker, especially at the value that you're getting from that. So he'll probably creep into the top 100 if he stays healthy. He'll probably creep maybe into the top 80 picks if he stays healthy. But I think again, if he does play 10 plus games, 13 plus games, anything close to the full season, you know what the upside is. He's never going to get back to 2019. He's got it. But 16 points per game to get that late, it's certainly worth your efforts to draft him in the appropriate spot.
Keep the name in mind if you don't take a lot of wide receivers early on in your drafts. I already think he is a top 100 player. I've got him at 91st overall, but still outside of my top 36 among wideouts. Great upside, huge downside, but the value is terrific.
Okay, it's Michael Thomas. You've got all of the Chiefs wide receivers basically that are not Kadarius Toney as risers. Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, and Richie James. Would you take Sky Moore ahead of Michael Thomas, Jamie?
They are back to back. I would take Thomas first, but I like the setup for both these guys. But I mean, look, I think it depends on your build. If you're looking for, like Dave said, if you want to take a receiver who can clearly, I don't want to say win your league, but again, based on cost, Michael Thomas replaces is going to be again a difference maker. Sky Moore, I think, is still more of a project. So we'll see how these targets get distributed. See what happens with Kadarius Toney when he's back, because he's going to play. We can't be approaching this as if Kadarius Toney's not going to be there. But Rice, James, Dustin Ross, that's another guy that you should consider a riser as well. All these guys are getting a lot of hype and a lot of publicity from the Chiefs media because they're on the field making plays this point. So I think Marquez Valdez-Scantling is what he is. Already seen a year in the system. I don't think things are dramatically changing for him. But everybody else has an ability to step up. And to me, Sky Moore is the one you should look at. But again, Rice and Richie James. James is the most proven. So if he's going to be a guy that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid trust, then again, we're drafting to take him.
How many of these guys do you draft in a 15-round draft game? Say kicker DST.
So, if anybody has any questions.
Is it Sky Moore?
What do you think? Sky Moore. Do you think Sky Moore could be a top 20 wide receiver?
Yes. I'm not going to draft him with that, but I do think that's basically his upside in PPR. So I mentioned this on, I don't remember which show I was on with Jamie, but Patrick Mahomes throwing to slot receivers. This excludes Travis Kelce from the conversation. He's finished in the top 10 among all NFL passers in targets to his slot receivers last year. Top 5 in yards gained by those receivers and touchdowns scored. He was also in those exact same ranges in 2021, 2020, and 2018. As well as top 5 in yards and touchdowns in his injury-shortened 2019. Mahomes does throw to his slot receivers quite a bit. The question is Sky Moore going to play enough in the slot? That's where Richie James has made a difference in his career. He's been a good slot receiver when he hasn't made mistakes. If that continues on, Sky Moore could be an outside receiver in 2 receiver sets. Chiefs use a lot of multi-tight end sets. And when they go to 3 receivers, maybe he stays outside. Maybe he comes inside. He played a lot of snaps in the slot last year. So did Juju. He's gone. So did McCole Hardman. He's gone. I think Sky Moore leads this team in slot snaps for wide receivers. And Mahomes has a penchant for leaning on that. and he says he's more comfortable in Andy Reid's offense. It all sounds like a really good breakout.
This is a Sky Moore and a Juju Smith-Schuster stat. So last year Juju had 9 games with at least 5 targets, and in those 9 games he averaged 15.8 feet per game. So if that's going to be the opportunity that Sky Moore steps into, then that's the change. Now again, is he going to get consistently 5 targets per game? Not a huge number, but not an incident for him either. So
you said 5 or more, so.
At least 5. There were some games where Juju was 5 and had a good start. So it's not like he's gonna have to get to 8. But it still shows you that Juju can play a little bit when the target's clear, and obviously that's the opportunity that this particular player, whether it's Moore, whether it's James.
Let me know if anybody has any questions.
I think the question becomes is how good is either Rice or Ross? Because if that player is good on the outside, Valdez-Scantling is not moving. He's going to be the one that stays on the field. If the other guy can be the outside receiver, then you have the opportunity to see if they trust Moore, or they don't trust those guys and Moore kicks outside, and then Richie James goes back to the field. I don't think they're playing Richie James outside. And if that's the guy that Mahomes and Reed trust, and they want more on the field, then the other big receiver is again, the other Gillies is good. But it just seems as if everything you're seeing out of training camp, and clearly he's the one that's the most comfortable with offense, he's probably staying in the book.
Okay. Sky Moore or Quentin Johnston?
The Airbnb in New York canceled.
What? How do they?
I got a notification that the Airbnb
Maybe
in Airbnb was canceled, and I thought was
the show. So how
the
about the
big one
risers
that
for Dave?
mattered. I got so
Bijan
nervous for the
Robinson
New York
is a
one,
riser.
which still
From where
sucks
to where?
because
Bijan
there's nowhere to
Robinson?
stay.
No.
They gave us a $25 credit.
That's it.
I'm like, it's gonna cost
Are
me
you
way more
kidding?
than that to get another place. Oh, it's so fucking annoying. I can't believe they can do that.
Why? What is the reason?
I don't know. It doesn't say. I messaged the lady. I'm like, why is this canceled?
Really? Are you kidding?
That's so annoying.
Well, I'm all thrown off. All right, I ranked
2
him too.
weeks?
Yeah. Ryan Robinson is a ranking riser.
Would I take him over Bijan Robinson?
Over Bijan Robinson?
No, he's not quite there.
Sorry, I forgive you.
All right, what do you got?
Hey.
Ryan
Yeah, then
Robinson?
Mike took fucking forever on this fucking thing, so now I'm working till probably 6.
I like that he's starting to make an impact in the passing game. You know, this is Eric Bieniemy's offense, and we didn't see a specific running back break out in Kansas City for a long period of time. I know that Kareem Hunt was really the last one that did it. Edwards-Helaire didn't do it. Pacheco did toward the end of last season. But I wonder if Robinson, in a full offseason where he's not getting shot, is going to end up being more than capable of being better than a typical 2-down running back. And maybe he can catch some flare passes on 1st and 2nd down. And he's obviously going to be their guy in short yardage goal line situations when they're not in a hurry up situation. I kind of view him as another one. He's almost like the Michael Thomas of running backs. And I'm drafting them in the same range. Where if I need a running back and it's round 7 or 8, this is who I'm gravitating toward. And I'll say, all right, fine, I'll start him to begin the year, and we'll see what happens. I like Antonio Gibson, too, and I like in PPR that he's got plenty of upside, and all the talk that he's going to be in that passing downs role, that's not a surprise. But I do think that Brian Robinson does have potential.
All right, we got the main thing we got the duck races going. So blue duck races for the middle row, mega duck is for the top row, and the 1-of-1 booklet is first place. Mega duck, every card in here is an RPA, and on the back you get anywhere from 1 to 3 ducks. Same thing for the blue duck, but everything is a jersey, and then you get 1 to 3 ducks. And that's how many ducks you get in the race. As soon as it sells out, we run it. Top 5 finishing ducks win a prize. Every duck purchase comes with 5 bonus pulls from the NFL box, where you could hit the Jordan Love or Cam Akers. Then we also have 2 pulls for 10 from the jersey auto box, 13 pulls from the regular for 10, and 6 pulls for $10 from the numbered. And we also have mystery packs. There's 7 left and 3 slab chasers in them. So let me know if you have any other questions on that.
Brian Robinson is the ideal trap back. Unless they change how they're going to operate, it feels like as if he's just going to be the 1st and 2nd down guy. He'll get some maybe moderate increases in the passing game. They're going to have to score a lot. They now have a guy that might run a little bit more at the quarterback spot. Sam Howell now what he did at college. Yeah. And so, I think for Robinson, I will be very curious to see what happens if Gibson gets hurt, because Gibson's had an injury track record as well. Will it be was it Rodriguez?
Chris Rodriguez, the rookie. Yeah, he can catch.
Who can be involved in the passing game, or will they give Robinson more of an edge there. If he's not scoring touchdowns, he's I think going to be very disappointed. I think you're going to get a lot of 18 for 80 where the rushing average looks good, doesn't score, one catch for 4 yards, those type of numbers, and it can just be very frustrating for Brian Robinson. So I don't disagree with where Dave's drafting him. I don't think there's a bad thing to put him on as one of your bench running backs, but he's not somebody that I'm very excited about.
Next rankings riser for Dave is Devontae Smith and Jigba. Did I get that right? Jackson Smith and Jigba, currently on NFC wide receiver 40, a round 8 pick. Going after these young guys, Burks, Dotson, and Jordan Addison. Do you think JSN should go ahead of Traylon Burks, Jahan Dotson, or Jordan Addison?
I don't think he should. I think that the hype is going to get out of control over Smith and Jigba, and I don't even have him as a round 8 pick yet, but he's going to be a factor in this offense. And what I'm really learning about Seattle is they're probably going to be a lot more pass heavy than they've ever been before. And I think this is what they were building toward in the draft when they got Smith and Jigba, and then they took 2 running backs who could catch the ball out of the backfield. And now they're in a spot where Kenneth Walker's hurt. He's going to miss some time. I still think he's going to be their lead back. Charbonnet's got the shoulder injury. That could sideline him a little bit longer. They might just say, screw it. We've got 3 amazing wide receivers. Let's use them. And Geno Smith was good last year throwing the football against everybody except San Francisco. So Smith and Jigba could end up getting more targets than I initially thought. But I think the Seahawks throw more than I initially thought. That's going to be good for all the pass catchers for Seattle.
I had trouble knowing when to take him. He's in a big group of receivers that I kind of like. I like Burks, I like Dotson, I like Addison, Gabe Davis, Brandon Cooks. They're right after Jackson Smith and Jigba. And so I think you always have to ask yourself when you're trying to select between 5 players or so, and there's only one that you're going to get. I think you always have to ask yourself about upside. It's not the only thing that comes into play. But does JSN really have big upside this year without an injury to Lockett or Metcalf?
That's where I get hung up on him, too.
Does he? What do you think?
No.
He's just amazing, but I don't know. All right, Elijah Moore is your last one. And last rankings riser here. He's going just after that group. JSN, Gabe Davis, Brandon Cooks, Dennis Elijah Moore, Cortland Sutton, and Quentin Johnson.
All right, I'm going to be getting off. I'll be back on tomorrow, and hopefully we can sell out the last 3 ducks. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message.